And salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie related show on the internet, the John Campea Show, brought to you in part by Mint Mobile, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world: movies, movie news, TV, streaming, all sorts of good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking good stuff, I'm honored today to be joined by one Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing today, sir?
John, today is a momentous day, a day that I'm sure you're going to end and think to yourself, what a glorious day this was. Do you know why this is a glorious day?
I was going to say, you got to have something up your sleeve. Why is today such a glorious day?
Because the first 6 Star Trek films with the classic cast all get released on 4K disc today.
Wow.
All of them, including Star Trek 2 and the director's cut of Star Trek 6.
You don't care, John.
Well, hold on a second.
And the director's cut of Star Trek.
Where any of my care for that one. It's not up here. But I'm happy for you, Rob. I am happy for you.
It's a glorious day, John.
Have you ordered them already?
I have, and not only that, the box set of the director's cut of Star Trek: The Motion Picture with 2 extra discs in the UK version. I'm getting that version.
A box set?
A huge box set with 5 discs.
Well, that'll be easier for you to store it in the closet since you never open your discs or ever actually play them.
That is not true.
It's good for stacking in the
closet. That is not true, but I got mine from the UK that has 2 extra discs in it, and it's already been shipped, and the American version was delayed.
Well, the person who is also likes extra stuff shipped, yet is always delayed, sitting back there joining you guys in the live chat today, Ray Orr is here.
Hey, I didn't realize this Sunday was the start of the football season.
Thursday night, man.
Oh, Thursday
night.
What's the game on Thursday?
It's Rams versus Bills.
Oh, Rams.
I think it's a Super Bowl contender match.
Yeah.
It's going to be so. I think the Bills win that game, actually, but we'll find out. Also joining us, of course, producer taking time out from writing The Batman 2, Jonathan Voico is here. Jonathan, how you doing?
Grace you with my appearance here.
And of course, most importantly, you guys are here. We're so glad you decided to make this show part of your day, and here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to break it down into 2 parts. In the first half of the show, we're going to talk about some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. The way you get a live comment or question on the show is, well, number 1, you got to be watching live. Number 2, when we get to the end of the main topics, we'll announce that we're opening up the super chats. And when we do, that is your cue to fire in your thoughts, opinions, theories, speculation, questions, whatever. And Rob and I will spend the second half of the show addressing those. Also, a little bit of housekeeping here. Want to remind you guys that if you need your daily fix of the John Campea Show, but you can't be in front of a YouTube video, good news. There's an audio-only version of our show that we simply call the John Campea Show podcast. Go to your favorite podcasting app of choice, search for the show, and submit to it, so it'll be there when you need it. Okay, guys, with that all down, let's get into a couple of off-the-tops here, shall we? And we will start things off with this. Now, right now, House of the Dragon is killing it. They're 3 episodes in. The show is absolutely marvelous so far. I'm digging every single one. I love the characters, and I love the direction and the pacing of the show. And of course, a lot of that comes from Sapochnik, who is the showrunner. He directed a bunch. He won an Emmy for directing Game of Thrones. He also was the director of the pivotal episode Battle of the Bastards and a number of other things. He was the co-showrunner of the show. And of course, we mentioned in an earlier show that he has announced that he is leaving the show at the end of this season, which a lot of us who are fans of the show are a little bit shaken by, but apparently also the cast has been shaken by it. The folks at IndieWire ran a story on this that was really interesting. Actor Steve Toussaint, who of course plays Corlys, the sea snake, talked about how he was absolutely gutted when he got the news. The other co-showrunner of the show gave him a call right before the news broke to let him know. And he said, you work with this closely. He's so brilliant, all this kind of stuff, absolutely gutted. And Rob, I think when we hear about news like this, we instantly and understandably, we think about our reaction. Like, oh no, like, will the show continue to be the same quality it's been for the first 3 episodes in the next season without him there? All that kind of stuff. But we forget as well, there's a whole cast and crew of people who have been working under them this whole time, and they get affected by it too. Now, of course, he was the co-showrunner. The other co-showrunner is still going to be there and running things. And of course, they're bringing on a Game of Thrones veteran. But can you see why the cast would probably feel that upset? And do you think everything's going to be fine moving forward?
Well, I do actually. I mean, look, he was also directing these episodes in addition to show running. He wasn't, I don't know how much of the writing he participated in, but he was probably more on the physical production side. And look, Battle of the Bastards is some of the most extraordinary television that's ever been put before us.
Such an incredible episode.
It's just incredible, but I can't imagine the toll it takes on someone, because it's not like directing a movie where you can see the end in sight when you're doing a TV show. And he was on Thrones. I mean, Battle of the Bastards was season 6. So he was ensconced in the first season of House of the Dragon for 3 years. And then before that, he was on Thrones for how many years? And, any creative person, when you've already scaled to such heights, it's time for new challenges. I can only imagine he must have been exhausted.
I've said the same thing about Kevin Feige.
It's true. I mean, but creating a show, and I can't even imagine, like I said to you earlier, the pressure for HBO to come up with something good. They scrapped their first pilot.
After they already shot it.
It was already shot.
Spent hundreds of millions to develop it, and then just said not good enough, and they axed it.
And that, can you imagine the pressure coming off an already failed second pilot for another Game of Thrones show? Yeah. I can't even imagine in television history. I can't imagine another show where you would have this much pressure to perform, like more than the Olympics. Like, bro, if this show isn't good, the entire planet Earth is going to be disappointed in you. So I can imagine. And you know what? He delivered. And he knows that the first 10 episodes are done. He knows he can walk away, hold his head high, and be like, I need a break.
And he's not really walking away, because on two different fronts. Number one, he's still going to be connected loosely as an executive producer on the show moving forward. But also, he scored a really sweet first look deal with HBO that they signed him to, thanks to all of his work on Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. So it's going to go well for him.
Yeah, and I'll bet he has something he wants to make for them.
Oh, yeah.
Just to clear the palate, and just to do something else. And maybe he'll come back later. Maybe he'll come back for the Jon Snow show.
Ooh, I didn't even think about that. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Some of the cast are saying they were just gutted at the showrunner leaving, but maybe there's really not much to worry about. The other co-showrunner is still going to be there. Shpotnik's still going to be involved. What do you guys think about this? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. Okay, guys, with that down, let's move on to a second off the top, and that is this. Rob, one of the easiest fake news things to create is reports about test screenings, which 98%, by the way, if I've made this clear on the show before, guys, 98% of the time that you hear test screening, it's fake. It's absolutely fake. 98% of the time. Every once in a while, it's real, because a director will be the ones talking about it, or the studio will be the ones. But any other time, don't believe it. NDAs are signed. It's normally just complete bullcrap. Again, with exceptions. There are. Well, there was a first that I saw on the internet this morning.
You mean you saw it for the very first time?
It's something I've never seen before.
Oh, wow.
An actor attending one of their own press screenings, one of their own test screenings, I should say, not press screening, test screenings, and actually filming themselves and the test audience at the screening. And, you might be thinking, an actor can't get away with that. Well, you can if your name's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Because Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson decided to go and sit in personally with this 30 or 40 person test audience who were the first people to watch Black Adam. And Dwayne Johnson filmed it. And then, the audience gasping for breath. Like the one girl sitting in the front row goes, "Oh my God, you even smell good." It was just everybody was freaking out and having that The Rock is there. And actually, Jonathan, if you scroll down a little bit on that page, we won't play the video, but you'll be able to see a little bit further there. You'll be able to see, yeah, there it is. That's Dwayne in the movie theater. And we won't play the video, but if you played the video, you would see that he's there talking to the audience and all that kind of stuff. I had two thoughts. Number one, what kind of honest feedback do you think you're going to get from an audience?
Zero.
When you march Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson out in front of everybody to fanboy and fangirl over at that time. That seems pretty unlikely. Now, he does come out in front of them after the screening is done. I have a hard time believing nobody noticed that monster sitting in the 8th row, though. Sitting there. Because bring up that image again, just of the still on the page. Look at the size of that guy just sitting there with other people. I can't believe that nobody in the audience knew that Dwayne was there. But whatever. Let's say let's say for a second that the audience didn't know he was there while they watched the movie, and they only found out he was there when the movie was over.
That's a pretty good bet, though.
Right. But still, you've marched him out in front of everybody before they've given their feedback. What kind of usable data do you think you're going to be able to get out of that now? Now, listen, full marks to Dwayne for like, Dwayne Johnson always loves doing things for fans and surprising fans and showing up. And that's just part of his nature that he does it. And I think that's awesome that he does that. Now, they do say in the video that before he came out, he said the whole audience was applauding when the credits started to roll. We don't see that on the video, but I'm going to take his word for it that that's what happened. So clearly they liked it, which I'm excited about this movie. I've been looking forward to the movie for a long time. So, but it might not have been the best move to do for the time. I don't know. You see this story and hear about it. What do you think?
Well, I mean, look, anyone who's lived in LA for any length of time, there's a company called, or there was, I don't know if they're still around, called NRG, the National Research Group.
Yes.
And they put on these screenings. And they recruit audiences all over the place. And then they bring a whole audience in. They show them the movie. Then afterwards, they'll handpick 20 or 30 people to stay after. So when you're watching the movie, you don't know who's behind you. Usually it's executives from the studio, it's actors, producers. Dwayne's a producer on this movie.
Yeah.
So you don't really, you're kind of unaware that anyone's there. But those handpicked people, they stay behind. They even pay you to do it. And then they give you a questionnaire, you fill it out, and then there's somebody, a moderator that asks questions. Well, it's specifically to get specific answers from people that just saw a movie. I can't imagine. I don't care how much I liked a movie. If Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Hobbs, walks in front of me, I'm like, I don't even care what I thought of this movie. I'm just like, oh my God, it's Dwayne Johnson.
By the way, you want to know what one of the questions he asked was? Dwayne Johnson's at the front. It's in this video. You see, he's at the front and goes, what did you love about the ending? Which I heard him ask, and I'm like, oh God. Tell me what you loved about the ending.
I mean, I can't, dude, I can't even imagine. Whatever audience feedback they hope to get, like uncut, pure, subjective or objective.
Well, in CSI terms, it's contaminated evidence.
It's completely contaminated. The jury this is not allowed. This is not inadmissible in a court of law. But you know what? In a way, I mean, obviously it's been turned into now it's marketing.
Yes, of course it is. Yeah. So it has value in and of itself.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would give more credence. I don't know if you've seen the TV ads for Barbarian, which opens on Friday. They've got like infrared shots of the audience reacting to the movie itself as it's playing.
I remember they used to do that for Blair Witch Project.
Yeah. And they've totally. I love what they're doing with the marketing for Barbarian. But I buy that. Maybe it's staged, but for the most part, I'll buy it. Because you can kind of tell if people are overacting in those situations. But in this case, come on, dude. How could we, even us, jaded Hollywood insiders that we are, paid shills from the studios, even we, come on, if Dwayne Johnson shows up, we'd both be like, oh my God, dude, it's Dwayne Johnson.
It's CinemaCon. We're at CinemaCon, surrounded by film professionals, thousands of film professionals. And what happened? Dwayne Johnson came out. They said he wasn't there. They said he was back home in Hawaii, but he was there. He snuck. He came in and came out. And like everybody, including frickin' Aaron Cummings, who works with movie stars, everybody's like, I mean, let's be honest. We were too.
I know. I mean,
staying like right there, 2 feet in front.
I mean,
of
the
us.
thing is, he's not just like a movie star.
Oh, he's bigger than life.
Yeah, he's a personality, and when he smiles, and then he starts calling out like Aaron.
Yeah, he starts calling people out.
I mean, how can you not love that guy?
Yeah, he's pretty intense. Now, the one thing I will say though too is he mentioned in the video alluded to a couple of the surprises. And what do you think about the big surprise at the end? And like stuff like that. So obviously me, in my deepest fanboy wishing, you know what I'm thinking. Henry! I'm thinking Henry is going to, I mean, I don't know that, but I'm going to hold out hope. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and hold out hope that Henry
they just all go get shawarma at the end.
Yes, they just go get shawarma at the end. So I don't know, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? About Dwayne Johnson actually attending the test screening and revealing himself to the audience? I don't know. Maybe that kind of makes it all useless. Maybe they did 5 other test screenings the same day where he wasn't there and they're going to be able to get usable data. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, before we move on to our Mint Mobile questions of the day, we want to take a second and thank one of the new sponsors of our show, our friends over at DraftKings. Guys, we want to take a second and thank one of the sponsors of today's video, DraftKings. Now, guys, you know I am a huge sports fan, and football fans, the first Sunday of the NFL season is here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is giving new customers a can't-miss offer to celebrate the return of the NFL season. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. And as an added bonus for Week 1, everyone can experience the thrill of DraftKings early win promotion. It's simple. Bet on an NFL team to win, and if your team leads by 10 at any point during the game, you get paid instantly even if your team goes on to lose. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code Campea to get $200 in free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet this Sunday. That's promo code Campea only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes for details. And thank you to our friends at DraftKings for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. And guys, remember, just like anything fun, even like collecting hot toys, do it in moderation and be careful of not getting ahead of yourselves. But again, thank you to our friends at DraftKings. All right, guys, with that down, we have a breaking story here. You guys will remember that it was about a week or two ago, probably last week, that news broke. One of the outlets found out that Warner Brothers was in discussions with producer Dan Lin, former studio executive under Alan Horn, who Alan Horn was all behind and saying, this is the guy, that they were in negotiations with him to become the new head of the brand new DC studio under Warner Brothers. It's going to be its own studio now, much like Marvel has a little bit of autonomy under Disney. And that guy was Dan Lin. Well, apparently now news is broke that Dan Lin has turned down the job. CSNBC is reporting Lego movie producer Dan Lin won't take the DC film and TV chief role at Warner Brothers. Now, I haven't read the article yet. This is just coming out. But I remember when we talked about the Dan Lin story and him taking over DC, we all said, well, this sounds like a really great name. He's got producing experience. He's got studio executive experience. He's supported by Alan Horn, all this kind of stuff. But the one holdup they said in the initial report was that Warner Brothers wanted him to separate himself from his production company that he had been building over the years. And I'm just guessing, I haven't read the report yet, I'm just guessing that became a hurdle they couldn't overcome. So I'm just going to read what is here in the report here on CSNBC, as they were at the following. Movie producer Dan Lin, who had been in talks to become head of Warner Brothers Discovery's DC Comics film and TV unit, will not take the job after all, according to people familiar with the matter. The two sides ended negotiations without being able to reach a deal. The news comes during tumultuous times for the newly formed Warner Brothers Discovery. CEO David Zaslav has been attempting to remake Warner Brothers after remerging with theirs, and it doesn't really seem that they can't give an actual reason for it. But at this point, let's see, the 49-year-old film producer was a favorite to take on the role, with expectations that Lin would report directly to David Zaslav and bypass division heads at HBO and HBO Max, Warner Brothers TV, and Warner Brothers Pictures. Contract discussions ran into complications because of Lin's ownership of Rideback, that's his production company, and how Warner Brothers Discovery would compensate him for that, two of the people said. So it looks like maybe my guess was right, that it came down to that. They couldn't reach a deal on what he would have to do and what he would have to give up and how much they would compensate him for and all that kind of stuff. And ultimately, they couldn't reach a deal that left both parties satisfied, and he walks. I'll tell you what, this is a big blow. Now, again, like I said when Dan Lin's name came up, listen, there are other guys they could have gotten, absolutely. But Lin was a really, really good name. There are still other really good names out there. They could very well end up with a fantastic head of the studio. But when you're David Zaslav, who I'm very big on, but when you're David Zaslav, this was your first. I mean, he's done a lot of, in my opinion, of the right things. He's been cutting the chaff. He's been getting rid of the fat. He's been trying to improve quality by subtraction, all the right things. But it's easy to wield the axe. It's easy to wield the axe. How are you going to be able to build? And to me, this was his first big test. Could you land the guy that you wanted? And it looks like he was the guy that they wanted. And whether to them the price tag was too high, or for him he was being asked to give up too much, whatever, but they were not able to close this deal. Now, again, I know a lot of people weren't tremendously excited with the Dan Lin name in the first place, so now they'll move on to somebody else. But to me, I think this is a loss for David Zaslav. This was his first big test. I'm the boss. I'm the guy who's going to make these deals. I'm the one who's going to bring people on board. The way I landed Matt Reeves, the way I'm about to land James Gunn, all this kind of stuff, I'm going to land my guy. And he didn't do it. So anyway, Rob, how big or not big of a deal is this Dan Lin situation?
I don't think that Dan Lin was ever really going to do it.
Really?
And I say that because it would have been a step back for him, I think. Because he was obviously, Warner Brothers is a place where if you're a great executive, you can graduate to becoming a movie producer. You had someone like, person I knew a little bit, Lorenzo de Bonaventura, came in as an executive, was a great executive, then became a very successful producer and still is a producer today. Dan Lin, very highly educated guy, was a great executive at Warner Brothers, all the way up through things like The Departed. And then he left.
Yeah. Won an Academy Award.
Yeah, he left and he was producing movies like It and the Lego Movie, making hundreds of millions of dollars. Admittedly, he produced Easter Sunday. We're not going to hold it against
which
him.
I would rather just not talk about.
He teamed up with Spielberg and Amblin. Good move. On paper, it looked good. Dan Lin did what everybody wants to do. If you're an executive, you dream of becoming a successful movie producer. That's what you want to do. He did it. He did it. He reached the pinnacle. I mean, if he doesn't have any directing aspirations, producing at the level he's producing, the highest level, he produces the most successful movies with the biggest budgets he wants. So he wins. He's winning. He won Hollywood. To go back to Warner Brothers, as much as you've got David Zaslav, I don't think there's enough money in the world. They probably couldn't make it economically feasible. He's got I've never been to his office. I don't know Dan Lin, but I'm sure I've heard he's got great digs.
He's got tremendous studio
He's got
space.
great digs, like sort of downtown LA. And it would be, I just don't think that there's enough they could entice him with to make that work. Like, what would be the advantage for him going back and basically becoming a studio executive again? Like the last time he was a studio executive, he worked on The Departed, which won Best Picture. And now he's going to work on just DC movies.
It's a shame, though. It's a shame, though, because he would have done great things for me. Or WB.
For me.
For WB, I mean.
I can't see a guy like Dan Lin going backwards.
But again, it wouldn't be the same as when he was at Warner Brothers before, because he would literally be the head of the studio.
No,
right?
he would be.
But I think the one line here is really telling that's in the report, that Lin's ownership of Rideback and how Warner Brothers Discovery would compensate him for that. So clearly Warner Brothers wanted him to separate himself from his company, divorce himself from his company, which listen, if you're asking somebody to come on board full time to just focus all their energy and attention on you, obviously that's what you want. But they were going to need to compensate him for that, saying, all right, you want me to leave my cash cow? You need to cut me a check for $300 million, $400 million.
Yeah, you gave J.J. Abrams $500 million. What's he made for you?
Well, they got rid of that contract.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I mean, you look at it and go, let's see, what have I've produced Lego movies for you. I've produced It Parts 1 and 2 for you, and all this other stuff. I mean, he produced the Lethal Weapon TV series. I mean, there's so many things that he's done in the last 15 years. Like, why? Like, if he's already making movies for Warner Brothers.
Yeah, and
already.
he's making probably more money doing it than he would be as the head of the studio.
Of course. So I don't see that there's any advantage. You know what? He'll probably wind up producing DC movies.
He probably will.
He'll be producing DC movies. He'll shepherd them into existence, but he'll be the producer of those movies and not, because this at a studio, they're trying to cut back. I think what really happened was, with all these cutbacks, the reason they canceled something like Batgirl, they have to figure out, how are we going to make up $3 billion or whatever? They couldn't afford to pay him what he asked for. They simply, with their cost-cutting measures, the acts of Zaslav could not find the money or justify.
I disagree. You know what they can't afford? You can't afford to set a precedent of how much money you're going to give people, because the moment
that too,
because everything in this business is about precedent, right? It's the same in entertainment as in the sports world, right? A guy who was a $10 million quarterback yesterday, another quarterback just signed for 15. Now I want 15.
Right.
And that's the way it happens. You give this guy, and listen, all power to him if he thinks, listen, if I'm going to walk away from the studio, you're going to have to line my pockets pretty heavy for it to be worth it for me. So I got no problem with whatever he asked for, right? But if you're Warner Brothers, Of course, you could afford giving the one guy whatever it is he's asking for. But once you do that, now all of a sudden you've set the bar.
Sure.
And now what every executive coming in, what every producer is going to measure what they want in compensation compared to what you gave them.
I totally agree with that, but I don't even think that they could have even reached that kind of money compensation issue because they couldn't justify it. It doesn't matter. I mean,
that's the thing. You can't justify it.
If God himself walked down and said, I'll do it. They're like, well, God, we can't pay you. The studio can't pay you. We can't justify it to our shareholders. He'd be like, I'm sorry, but I'm God. I'm worth $500 million a year or whatever. So even he couldn't get the money, or it or she. I don't want to, he couldn't get it because they can't afford to do it. And I think what they tried to do was offer him autonomy. You can have creative autonomy. You can run the studio, which for some people is really enticing. Like, I still think it wouldn't surprise me if Walter Hamada came back into the mix somehow, but I don't know where they're going to go now. I mean, I thought Dan Lin was a really good choice, but I didn't think he was ever going to do it.
But it was a surprising name, and I got a feeling there's going to be other names that come up that'll be just like Dan Lin's. That'll be surprising, somebody else with a great track record, somebody, and we'll see where things go. But again, so I get it. You listen, it was a swing for the fences kind of thing. You had a guy where it was going to take a lot to pry him away from the great setup that he had to get him there. You couldn't reach an agreement. I get it. But, if you're David Zaslav, I think now this is your first public loss, that you weren't able to make that deal. You weren't able to convince him to give up his company and come over. And that's when you're the top boss, that's the types of things you got to be able to do.
Yep.
And you can't do it every single time. Even Bob Iger didn't land every fish that he wanted, but he's going to have to do big things now, getting the head of this DC studio.
I know that there's somebody who watches this show right now that knows exactly if we're talking out of our ass.
What we're talking about. Yeah.
So we'll fight. We'll hear about it. I hope we're not too far off the mark.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I know a lot of you weren't necessarily excited about the name of Dan Lin anyway, but still, this is a very resume deep guy coming into it with a lot of respect in the industry. They weren't able to get a deal done, and so the search now continues for head of this brand new DC studio that's being given its autonomy for the first time ever. What do you guys think about this situation? I'm sure we're going to get more news as the week develops of what's going to happen next. Jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's now time for us to go to our hotline, Mint Mobile question of the day. Of course, thanks to our partners at Mint Mobile, we've set up a hotline. The number is 951-268-4259, where if you've got a question you'd like us to hear you speak on the show, you just call that number and do that. So let's go over to our hotline right now. What do we got up here first?
Hey, John, this is Joey, also known as Zelda Master 702. This is just a quick question with the upcoming D23 conference. I just wanted to see if, because we're only getting that 2-hour slot, if we should start keeping our expectations a little bit more in check. I know we're expecting some big bombs, but what do you think?
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in. And of course, this week, Rob, D23 starts this week. It kicks off on Friday. We're, of course, going to get to Anaheim, California, Friday evening in time for the big panel, which is, of course, Saturday morning, 10 a.m. And that's the Fox Movies, Marvel, and Star Wars Lucasfilm panel. And that's going to be the big thing. And it is a 2-hour time slot. Now, he raises a good question. We've been sitting here predicting, and I specifically have been sitting here predicting, I think there is going to be major bomb after major bomb at this thing. I think it is going to be earth-shaking news, earth-shaking news, earth-shaking news. But with a 2-hour panel time, the fact that they're going to be doing some Fox films, Marvel films, and Lucasfilm, does that leave a lot of time for this big succession of bombs that we've been predicting? And should we get our expectations in check? I would say this, having been at the last D23, it was not a dissimilar situation. I think it was a 2-hour presentation, and it was massive announcement after massive announcement after massive announcement. And remember, it's not like they make a massive announcement and then spend 20 minutes talking about it. They make a massive announcement, somebody says a couple of words, and then they move on to the next announcement. Realistically speaking, I could budget, break it into 5 minutes. So what do we got? 6, 12, 18. You break them down into 5-minute chunks, and it can be even smaller than 5-minute chunks. You got time for like a whole bunch of big, massive bombs being dropped at this thing. 18 to 24, the minimum. So listen, it is always good to check your expectations no matter what. Like, and never let your speculation become expectation, right? You're going to hear me saying that a lot this week as we go into D23. Hey, that maybe this announcement will come. Maybe this one. Oh, this could come. I bet that one will come. But always keep your speculation in check. Don't let it become expectation. But as far as my speculations go, no, I'm ready for a whirlwind, man. I really do think they are going to shake the internet with what they do at D23. I think the biggest of which is going to be Fantastic Four, but I think that's going to be the tip of the iceberg. And hey, Rob, you're going into D23. We're going to go there. We're going to be there in person. Where you're, what kind of reality checks are you giving yourself right now? What are you expecting going into this thing right now?
Well, like you, I expect some earth-shattering news that's going to keep us buzzing for the next 3 or 4 years, because that's what they're promising us. They're going to give us their layout for the next 3 or 4 years. Here's what we're going to be making. And imagine we're getting all of these things, Lucasfilm and Marvel. And remember, when Feige gets up and makes these presentations, he gets up there and it's him talking, and we've got this, and they put up a logo on screen. It's not like they then bring out the entire cast and show everybody. They don't do that. They make I think they will Fantastic Four. I think that's going to be their big finale. But he comes out and just shows a logo. Dude, I lost my shit when that Moon Knight logo.
Oh, I know.
And I mean, I was like, what? Like that was, I'm literally sitting at home like, it was a big deal. I couldn't believe it. It was
now
literally.
That's being made into a GIF right now. That's being made.
I don't think I was on camera.
Right
Oh, was No, I was excited. It was amazing. And that's all he has to do. So he's going to come up there and deliver these, whatever they're going to be. And the same is true of Star Wars. But they did have things like they did have the Patty Jenkins X-Wing fighter video. Didn't they show that at D23?
No. That was at the Disney Investors Day call.
Oh, that was okay. Investors
Day. At D23 is when they brought out, like, they announced Andor. They announced that Hugh McGregor came out on stage and announced he was coming back.
But these are short things. It's not like then they sit and do a Q&A.
It takes a couple of minutes.
Yeah, they just come out. And so when you think about 2 hours, it's going to be like watching a 2-hour orgiastic cinema experience where everything they tell you is amazing. It's going to be like getting a climax every 2 or 3 minutes.
But see, that's the key. We keep calling it, and this is our fault too, we keep referring to it as the Saturday morning panel. But it's not really a panel.
Right.
It's not, they're not going to get out a big table with a bunch of the talent sitting down and answering questions. That's not what this is. This is really an announcement party.
Right.
It's going to be an announcement after announcement after announcement. Kevin Feige, in the span of 3 minutes, announced Ms. Marvel, She-Hulk, Moon Knight. I think that might have been when they announced Loki. I can't remember. But they announced a whole ton of stuff in like the span of just a couple of minutes. So how much they will drop and how big those drops will be, we'll have to see. But is there enough time to do a ton of them if they want to? There is enough time.
Are you guys attending Friday?
I don't think we're going to get there in time to attend much on Friday.
A lot of people in the chat are saying Friday is when they reveal some of the video games.
Yeah, I think that's during the day before we'll have a chance, because we're still doing the John Campea show in the morning.
Sure, but we're not really a video game channel.
Yeah, but I would listen. If we were there, I'd go and cover it.
Yeah,
I go because it will be Disney property related video games. So if we would have been there, I would cover it. But the fact of the matter is that because we've got the John Campea show in the morning, I don't think we're going to be there in time for that. We'll probably be rolling in around dinner time, to be honest with you. But either way, but I do think there's enough time. Anyway, guys. That is it for our Mint Mobile question of the day. Once again, guys, if you have a question, like to hear yourself on the show, go to our Mint Mobile hotline. Once again, the phone number is, as Jonathan will bring it up on screen here, 951-268-4259. Call on in and maybe you will hear your question on the show. Okay, guys. With all that down, it's time for us to go into our main topics here today. But before we do, we're going to take a second and thank another one of the sponsors of our videos. Once again, very faithfully, I took mine this morning, our friends over at Athletic Greens. Hey guys, we want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of this video, Athletic Greens. Now, I started taking Athletic Greens because I don't eat enough vegetables, and I was looking for a way to make up for that deficit in my diet of those vitamins and minerals that I really need in my system, and thank goodness I found found Athletic Greens, and I literally take it every morning. You see, with one scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole foods, source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, all the things. And my wife got onto it, and now she absolutely loves it. You know, tons of people take some kind of multivitamin, and it's important to choose one with high-quality ingredients that your body will actually absorb, like Athletic Greens. So right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with a convenient daily nutrition, especially heading into the flu and cold season. It's just one scoop and a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Campea. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/Campea to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And thank you to our friends at Athletic Greens for giving me some semblance of vegetables in my diet and for being a sponsor of today's episode. All right, guys. With that down, let's get into our main topics here today. And how do we select our main topics on the John Campea Show? Well, that's easy. You guys come up with our main topics. Whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic here on the show, just go anytime 24/7 to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Rob, what is our first main topic today?
Our first main topic comes to us from Samuel DeVos. Hi, John. During one of your shows, you said that you believed that House of the Dragon would open with bigger numbers than Rings of Power. Where Rob said it would be Dragon.
He probably meant rings because you said rings.
Then Rings of Power.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, he probably said, okay.
That you said it would be Rings of Power.
Where Rob said it would be Dragon.
No. I said Dragon would be the bigger one. You said it would be Rings of Power.
I'm just reading what
I know, but he probably meant Rings of Power.
Well, it looks like Rob was right. Deadline is reporting that the Ring Show had over 25 million viewers for the show's debut last week, which breaks every record Amazon has and a lot of other records too. What do you attribute this to, and can it maintain these sorts of numbers? Thanks.
All right. Thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yeah, look, okay, first of all, yes, we did ask the question. I think it was the House of the Dragon after show. And the question got posed to us, do we think House of Dragon will have the bigger numbers or the Rings of Power? And I said, in all of my wisdom, listen, Game of Thrones is far more recent. It is still very, very present in the pop culture mind. Game of Thrones will have, or House of the Dragon will have the bigger numbers. Whereas Rob laid out his case as to why he really felt that the Rings of Power would have the bigger numbers. And yes, you are right. Rob was right. As it turns out, they did open with ridiculously large numbers. This comes to us from the folks over at CNBC who wrote the following. Amazon's first episode of its Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power series, attracted over 25 million viewers globally in its first day, making it the biggest ever debut for a show on its Prime Video streaming service. The series is based on the appendices of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings books and is the most expensive television series of all time. It is somehow fitting that Tolkien's stories, among the most popular of all time, and what many consider to be the true origin of the fantasy genre, have led us to this proud moment, Amazon Studios head Jennifer Salke said in a statement. All right, so there's a couple things to point out. While, yes, we reported that House of the Dragon launched with 10 million, just a hair under 10 million viewers, it is important to note that that wasn't its worldwide numbers. Its worldwide numbers actually come closer to 20. Because that was a little under 10 in the US. The next biggest market that they had was the UK, which had just a little under 4, I believe. And then the rest of its markets made up about almost another 6. So it came up to almost 20. So it was actually closer than it sounds. It's also important to point out, as Rob and I were talking about this yesterday, he brought up this point, and it's one you got to keep in mind, that Amazon, while they're both in the biggest markets, Amazon does have deeper market penetration. And please nobody say that's what she said, does have deeper market penetration than HBO Max does right now. So it's in a few other territories, but still a 25 million viewer opening for this is huge. It's monumental. What do we attribute it to? I attribute it to two things. On the one hand, it's Lord of the Rings. It's in the fantasy. There is no grander name in the fantasy genre than Lord of the Rings. And whereas, yes, I still believe that, Game of Thrones is much more recent. It's still more prevalent in the pop culture mind. The fact is, it's Lord of the Rings. And a lot of average fans just hear the name Lord of the Rings and they know instantly what it is. So I think that did it. But the second thing is this. Whereas we will often criticize Netflix for its inability to properly market its shows, Amazon did one flippin' hell of a job marketing this show. They really did. Everywhere I turned, there was Rings of Power ads. Everywhere I looked, even on my various streaming devices. I load up my Chromecast. The very first thing it's saying, watch Rings of Power on Amazon Prime. I load up my Roku, very first thing on the screen, watch Rings of Power on Amazon Prime. They went balls to the wall with their marketing, and they did it well, and they did it effectively. And absolutely, the name Lord of the Rings is a huge part of it. Absolutely. But I do not think you can sell short the job they did on the marketing of this thing. Question will be now, what does the viewership pattern do over the next coming weeks? I, of course, did not really like the first episode of Rings of Power. I really quite enjoyed the second episode, so we'll see what happens moving forward. But Rob, we saw these numbers. We were both a little bit taken aback when we saw them. What do you attribute these big numbers to, and why were you right and I was wrong?
I look, I think the big numbers, it's that these are both entertainment franchises that have delivered in the past. I mean, whether you like the final season of Game of Thrones or not, it was enthralling television for the better part of a decade. I mean, it captured the imaginations of the world. And the same was true of Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings movies. I mean, it was one of the biggest gambles in Hollywood history that paid off handsomely. And even Peter Jackson's Hobbit movies, I mean, I thought they went a little overboard. They still made close to $1 billion each.
Yeah.
And so these are huge beloved franchises on both sides. And you've got the best production people in the world making both shows. I mean, whether you love Rings of Power or not, it's a handsomely, beautifully made TV show. It's undeniable. I mean, you look at it, the production values are insane. And same is true of House of the Dragon. These are two shows that they have had their peak television. I mean, the history of the medium, we haven't had two shows that are as well produced and as beautiful as these shows are. And I think that's what people look. Most people are not arguing on the internet about whether or not Rings of Power is steeped in Tolkien's lore. They just want to see, because most people haven't read Tolkien. Most people just want to see an entertaining show. And a lot of people are getting that, obviously, from this. And I think regardless of I mean, I see some of the things that happen and what they do to our beloved properties is the end of Western civilization myself. But a lot of other people don't feel that way. And I think either way, they're great entertainments being given to us by companies like HBO has done nothing but try and produce the best TV they can. We've always talked about they are the Tiffany standard. Their best shows come in a powder blue box with a white ribbon on top, and it is the best TV you can get. And Amazon has gone all in. It's the most expensive show ever made. They've really bet their entire streaming history or future on it.
It's strange watching Rings of Power and thinking this is the same studio that gives us The Boys. It's kind of like hard to balance.
Yeah, and you know, The Boys is a good example. Amazon is giving us great genre fare. I mean, they're trying to do. It's not like Amazon's like, yep, we're going to screw this up. They're trying to give us peak television, and to a certain extent, they're giving that to us. So I think, you know, regardless of the numbers, both of these shows are monumentally successful with viewers, and for the most part, creatively. As much as I've talked to you about the lore, of course, in Lord of the Rings leaves a lot to be desired, but the show itself, if you're a casual viewer, there's a lot to love there. And that's what people are looking for. And I think everybody comes out right. I mean, I want to see where we're left at the end of my thoughts are Rings of Power will be less successful creatively at the end of its 8 episodes than House of the Dragon will be at the end of its 10. But I don't know that yet. I have to see it. So either way, John, I think we live in fascinating times, and we're getting extraordinary genre programming, the likes of which I never thought I'd see in my lifetime, to be honest.
I thought Rings of Power was going to be 10 episodes.
I think it's only 8.
I thought it was 5 seasons of 10 episodes, 50. Can somebody look that up for
I'm
us?
not sure. I could be wrong.
You might be right. You might be
I don't-
right. So we'll find that. The guys will look that up here, and we'll find that out. I mean, George R.R. Martin put it best a few weeks before both shows opened. What's that?
8.
It is 8. So there you go. It's 8. I thought it was 10. George R.R. Martin, I thought, put it best when they were asking him about both shows coming out, and Martin was just like gushing. He's like, "Can you believe we're going to have a Lord of the Rings show and a Game of Thrones show going at the same time?" And just being excited about seeing. And it's a rich time for us to have stuff like this on TV right now.
And a guy, I mean, whether you have Stephen Donaldson writing the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant or George R.R. Martin writing Game of Thrones or these books are all inspired by Tolkien. So all of these great fantasy writers, Terry Brooks, the Sword of Shannara stuff, all of that was inspired by Tolkien's work. So they all want it to succeed. Everybody wants this show to be great. That's what they hope.
Well, they should at any rate. We know that's not necessarily true, but at any rate, I still remember one of my favorite things was hearing a younger guy, a Dungeons and Dragons player, saying that the Lord of the Rings just rips off Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm like, I'm just not going to say anything. I just decided not to.
It's
say
like that meme. You just did the who's that?
Oh
meme
yeah, the Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, the Nathan Fillion. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. All right, anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? What do you attribute to a 25 million viewer opening for a show like this? While we've got also House of the Dragon shattering its own records and everything too. It's a good time. What do you attribute it to? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. Rob, what is our second main topic today?
Our second main topic comes to us from Kevin Rubio.
Oh, our friend Kevin Rubio.
Our friend of the channel, director of Troops, the greatest Star Wars fan film ever. It would seem there's a lot to worry about with Don't Worry, Darling, coming out of its first screening and press junket. Less than stellar reviews, rumors of tensions amongst the cast members, Harry Styles spitting on Chris Pine, and Warner Brothers took down their marquee poster in front of the studio over the weekend. What's going on?
All right, so I don't know anything about the Warner Brothers taking down the poster. That could have been for any one of 1,000 reasons. That being said, coming out of CinemaCon this year, one of the films we were all, you, me, Chris, Aaron, right? We were all really buzzed about was Don't Worry, Darling. They put on a big presentation. Of course, it's where Olivia Wilde infamously got served papers while on stage, an incident I'm sure everybody would rather never happened. But we all came out of that going, oh my God, this movie's going to be awesome. This looks great. The trailers have been fantastic. Everything has been looking good. Yeah, but you could make an entire movie about this movie. And I believe they will someday. Now, look, let me give this preface when I say this. I don't like talking on this show about TMZ celebrity gossip bullshit. Like, I'll let other people talk about that shit if you want. But every once in a while, that useless garbage actually has a direct impact on the movies we are about to see.
Yeah.
And the movies coming out right now and have a direct impact on them. And that, unfortunately, is a situation we have right now. We've got this movie coming out in just a couple of weeks. And it just played at not the, but one of the most prestigious film festivals in the world is playing out there. And it has been besieged by controversy, drama, problems, one after the other, ever since its inception, some of which have been whispered about for a while that people like me have just dismissed because 9 times out of 10, it's never anything. But we're finding out that, there was probably something to that. Everything from, the whole Shia LaBeouf thing when he was supposed to be on, and then apparently she said she fired him. He provided receipts that shows that he actually quit and left the project. To a lot of people were very upset on stage that they replaced Shia LaBeouf with Harry Styles, and that Olivia Wilde, as the director of film, started an affair with Harry Styles. I mean, so they say, and that other cast members were really unhappy with the situation that created and the environment that created on set. The very fact that from the reports that we're seeing, maybe true, maybe not, but the reports that we're reading in most of the trades is that Florence Pugh got a little bit upset finding out that she got paid $700,000 to do this movie, which hell, I'll do almost anything for $700,000, but got paid $700,000 to the movie. And this guy that the director was now sleeping with apparently got $2.5 million. Now again, these are all the whispers and everything. What is true and not true? That's something we're not privy to. But all that kind of stuff, most of that stuff we kind of brush aside. But with all the stuff going on, then all the words of Florence Pugh and Olivia Wilde having a lot of tension. Olivia Wilde did everything she could to kind of denounce that and all kinds of things. But everything that we're seeing now kind of makes it look like it was legitimate. Now you're at the one of the most prestigious film festivals in the world. You're at the Venice Film Festival. You're at the premiere of your movie, and a video comes out that looks like, I mean, again, I'm not God on the wall. I don't know 100% for sure. We can only go by what it looks like. I was telling Taylor this morning, I watched this video for the first time, and we're talking, of course, about Harry Styles spitting on Chris Pine. And I don't know, maybe Chris Pine was just really thirsty. Who knows? But the first time I saw the video, I thought, well, I mean, he could be doing anything. I mean, that wasn't necessarily spitting. Then the second time I watched the video, I just watched Chris Pine. And that sure looked like a man who was just spit on. So look, again, whether or not he did or didn't, I will leave that up to the collective wisdom of the internet to decide. But it certainly looked like I have not seen a movie with this much negative drama and garbage surrounding it in a long time. And it sounds like that all came out on screen because what looked like a fabulous movie, the reviews aren't so great. They're not completely terrible, but I mean, they're sub 50. Last time I checked, it's sub 50%. So at the very best, you can say it's mixed. A lot of people, by the way, a lot of the critics denouncing Harry Styles' performance, saying it's not very good. Actually, this comes to us, a little thing on this. This comes to us from the folks over at The Independent. They wrote the following. It is a messy, convoluted affair with some very contrived plotting. Harry Styles gives a surprisingly dull and low wattage performance as Jack. Jack is a one-dimensional figure, and the One Direction star fails to give him any hidden depth. Pugh is easily the film's most vivid and compelling personality. She plays Alice in such a fiery fashion that most other characters seem robotic by comparison. Don't Worry, Darling is beautifully shot by cinematographer Matt Libatique, best known for his work on Darren Aronofsky's films. It has immaculate production and costume design. Beneath its polished, very stylish outer sheen, though, it's as hollow as the lives of its pampered but empty-headed protagonists. And that comes to us from The Independent. And again, there are some outlets that are saying they enjoyed it, but even they are saying it with like a grain of salt that like, yeah, it's overall it's good, but a lot of them are saying that the ending is ridiculous. I haven't seen it myself, so I'm not speaking for this firsthand. I'm just saying what I'm reading. So a lot of them are saying that the ending is ridiculous. Harry Styles isn't that strong in it, all that kind of stuff, which I assume only makes any whatever deep-seated resentment is already there even deeper. So, I mean, and then this spitting on Chris Pine thing, which by the way, I just got to say this. If true, and that's a giant if true, that what we saw in that video is actually him stepping in, leaning or spitting on Pine, and then sitting down, that is the most bitch, gutless, cowardly loser thing I have ever seen. If true. Because the little sniveling weakling coward made sure he did it in a place where Pine couldn't do anything to react. In public in front of all these people, what's Pine going to do? Jump up and beat the living shit out of him like he probably deserved? Nope, couldn't do that because we're surrounded by all these people. Again, if true. Maybe that's not what happened. Maybe Styles literally just coughed. And Pine was like, dude, you just coughed on me. I mean, like seriously, it could be one of 100 other things. Didn't necessarily do it. But if he did, that dude's a little bitch. That dude is a little bitch if he did. But again, that's if, and I simply just don't know. But Rob, we often talk about the fact that like in sports teams, when you have strife in the locker room, it is difficult for you to get the best results once you get out on the ice or on the court or on the field. And with all the drama, it sounded like it was going on in this movie. I don't know how a good movie comes out of it. I mean, obviously, we've seen some of the great classic movies of all time. I mean, a couple of Francis Ford Coppola things come to mind about some behind-the-scenes drama that still turned out into great movies, but you make your job harder. This whole Don't Worry, Darling thing has become an unmitigated mess and kind of a cautionary tale about what not to do on set of a movie and how to make a movie. At any rate, Rob, you're seeing all this. What are your immediate takeaway right now?
First of all, it just makes me sad. I mean, obviously, we're both huge fans of Booksmart. And Olivia
Such
Wilde,
a good movie.
Olivia Wilde's debut movie, I thought, beautifully directed. What a knockout first film. And obviously, she had a lot of heat on her. And, you know, I was privy to see her. She had made basically what's called a Rip-O-Matic, a mood board, if you will. But it's sort of a video where you take images of other movies and other things and you put them together. And it's kind of like a trailer, a proof of concept trailer to convey what your vision is for the movie. And she had made that, and it was really great. Like when you looked at that, and you probably had the script, and she came and made her pitch, and coming off of Booksmart, I'm like, wow, this is going to be a knockout film. So I was really looking forward to this movie. Matthew Libatique is an incredible cinematographer, and by all accounts, this movie is beautifully made. And I was really pulling for Olivia Wilde. We talk about we need more top drawer female directors making feature films at the level she's making Don't Worry, Darling at. Coming off of something like Booksmart, she's working with a hell of a cast. And you know what? I'm going to be there with bells on when this opens. I'm going to see this opening night. I've been dying to see this movie. And I think at the end of the day, that's getting a movie made is so difficult. And getting a movie like this made, a genre movie, however it plays out, I don't know, is so hard. And it kills me. It just drives me insane to see this movie overshadowed by this drama, this needless, unprofessional drama. When someone's, again, we talked about it with the Ezra Miller situation in Flash, when someone spent tens of millions of dollars on you, you know, part of what you need to be is on your best behavior. And one of the most, it's a tale as old as time, John, but one of the oldest things in the book that happens in Hollywood is people hook up on set. It's so toxic and not good for everybody that's working on a movie. It's unprofessional. And by all accounts, I don't know if that actually happened or not, but if it did, it shouldn't have. You know, and somebody should have said, don't do this. Now you watch all this press, all this stuff that goes on. And another thing that Olivia Wilde did, she goes, you know, I based this movie on Jordan Peterson, who's the villain. And if you don't, he's a very divisive figure. And she comes out and goes, Jordan Peterson's the hero to the incel community. Which, by the way, is absolutely not true. And I'm not a Jordan Peterson acolyte, but he's like a real figure, a real public figure that is a known. He's a professor and a psychologist. Marvel, there's a guy who based the Red Skull recently on Jordan Peterson, and she comes out and you think that Jordan Peterson is some like public enemy number one, and she said, I based. How would you like it if someone came out and said, I just based the villain on my new movie on you, John Campea? Why would you do that? And if you did do that, why would you say it so proudly, knowing you have followers? That guy has followers all over the world. You know, so everything that's gone on with this movie has taken away, and from the celebration of the fact that Olivia Wilde, this is her sophomore effort. You've got a lot of great people that worked on this movie. A studio bankrolled it. Everybody took a bet on it. We should be excited about the film, and yet that's not what we're talking about.
Well, what's been the narrative for the last week, 2 weeks?
I know.
Every time.
How did this happen?
Every time Don't Worry, Darling has come up, the conversation around water coolers across America, whenever the topic of Don't Worry, Darling comes up, they're not talking about the movie.
I know.
They're talking about, did you so-and-so hooked up with so-and-so on the set? That so-and-so has pressure with this. That somebody said they got fired, but no, they didn't get fired. They actually quit. And now we're at the world premiere. This was your opportunity to put all of that behind. You could have taken everything. This world premiere at the Venice Film Festival was their collective opportunity to take all the smoke, all the noise, and get the focus right back on the film. Instead, all anybody's talking about is, you know, when Florence Pugh and Olivia Wilde were up there for posing for photographs for 4 minutes, they never once made eye contact. You know, it looked like Harry Styles walked in there and spit on Chris Pine. You know, this happened and this happened. And now the reviews are coming out, which are not stellar.
And you can't tell me that this hasn't affected people's perception of the movie.
Of course it has.
And when you go in,
100%.
when you go in and watch this film, you're no longer judging it on its own merits. Suddenly, all of this ridiculousness that has nothing to do with how hard it was to make this film becomes the focal point. And, you know, we'll never have an unbiased opinion of this movie ever.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this whole unmitigated disastrous mess Don't Worry, Darling has kind of turned into? A film that months ago we were all talking about, this thing could be a damn Oscar contender. Look at this thing. And the narrative has suddenly changed from the behavior of a bunch of people. And it is going to affect this movie. It clearly is. So anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on this whole thing? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. Okay, guys. Before we move on to the next topic, we're going to take a second and thank another sponsor of today's episode. These are people who provide a service I've used many times in my career, and I still do to this day. The good folks over at Storyblocks. We want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of today's video, Storyblocks. Guys, I have been an enthusiastic fan and user of Storyblocks for years. I go to them whenever I'm in need of content creation assets like royalty-free music, video clips, or templates for my creative projects, ranging anywhere from little editorial videos to my very own full-feature documentary. Storyblocks helps you bring your stories, videos, and projects to life without sacrifices due to time, budget, or access to resources. They have over 1 million different story assets ranging from stock videos, audio and music, an in-browser video editor, and they feature pre-designed templates, animations, and outros. Storyblocks uses an affordable subscription model, and their unlimited access plans offers, well, unlimited video and audio downloads rather than a costly pay-per-clip model. With Storyblocks, you'll be able to create more content and, more importantly, better content, all while using a subscription plan that fits your budget, utilizing unlimited downloads of demand-driven and diverse content. So if you're interested in upping your content creation game, head over to www.storyblocks.com/Campea and get started today. That's www.storyblocks.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at Storyblocks for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Remember, guys, you can find the links and promo codes to all of our sponsors down in the description of this video. And when you support our sponsors, you're actually supporting us. So thank you again to Storyblocks. All right, with that down, let's get into main topic number 3. Rob, what is our third main topic today?
John, our third main topic comes from Trip T. Considering Dwayne Johnson is like the biggest movie star in the world, I've kind of been surprised by how quiet the whole Black Adam marketing has been. The movie comes out next month, and we're really not seeing it around much other than on Johnson's Twitter. But I just saw the movie's producer tweet that a new trailer is coming on Thursday Night Football. Do you think this will finally be the one that gives us an idea of what the story is?
All right. Thanks a lot for sending that in, Trip T. And yeah, listen, we were just talking about Black Adam a little bit earlier. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson showing up at test screening. Maybe not the best idea, but whatever he did is excited the people that were there. But you're right. You know, things have been oddly quiet on the Black Adam front. And the movie's only a little over a month away now. I mean, that feels weird to say. It's finally almost actually here. I think we're probably within a week or two of it getting delayed again. But anyway, it's finally almost here. And it's been surprisingly quiet. And even the trailers we have gotten, I wasn't surprised with the first trailer because the first trailer is the first trailer. Then the second one came out. We still don't really know what the movie's about. We don't even know who the antagonist is yet. I mean, there have been some toy leaks and things like that, but they've been very, very, very quiet. So it sounds like maybe there's another trailer coming this Thursday. That's what everybody online is saying. Maybe, maybe not. This is where this is all coming from here. It comes from a tweet that the producer, one of the producers on the Black Adam movie put up. And it's this. So Black Adam News retweeted saying a new trailer for Black Adam seems to be on its way during Thursday Night Football on September 8th. And he retweeted the producer of the film, Bo Flynn, who tweeted, "Let's get crazy at Rams NFL, hashtag Black Adam, hashtag September 8th at NFL." Okay. Here's the important thing to know about the original tweet, though. The original tweet that the producer put out was actually connected as a retweet that Ozzy Osbourne, I think, put out that he's going to be doing the halftime show at the opening game of the season between the Rams and the Bills. Thursday Night Football, going to have a huge audience. Again, that's a potential. Those are Super Bowl contenders right there, playing in the opening game of the night. And as you go down through Bo's, all of his tweets, hashtag Black Adam is in every single one of his tweets. So let's bring this up again, Jonathan. So as he brings up and he says, let's go crazy, because he's got the train on there because it was an Ozzy Osbourne announcement. Let's go crazy train at Rams NFL, hashtag Black Adam, hashtag September 8th, hashtag NFL. Could that be implying that we're going to get a new Black Adam trailer on Thursday Night Football this Thursday? It could. It could. But I'm going to say right now, I'm going to need more than that because, like I said, when I went through his Twitter feed, like every single tweet, hashtag Black Adam, hashtag Black Adam. And yes, the game is September 8th at NFL, all that kind of stuff. It seems to me that this is something Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson himself would be announcing online. So look, I will say this, though. This would be a coup. You drop a trailer for this on the opening game of the NFL season on Thursday Night Football when it's the only game on, and like the sports world is going to be watching. Oh, that's a great graphic, right? And the whole sports world is going to be watching. And that's making a statement right there, getting that. So it would be a brilliant move on their part. Again, the movie's a little over a month away. Perfect timing, great opportunity right there. If they do it, it's a great move. I'm just not convinced it's actually happening yet. Now, for all I know, since this show has started, an hour and 5 minutes ago, maybe they've released some official information. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm hoping a new trailer's coming this Thursday. But for everybody going around saying it's confirmed, new trailer coming Thursday, I don't think it has been yet. Rob, you're seeing this. Number one, would it be a good idea to release a trailer on Thursday Night Football for something like that? And number two, from what we've seen, do you actually think we're getting a trailer this Thursday?
I think it'd be a great idea, but I don't think that that producer was saying that there's a trailer coming at all. He was referring strictly to Ozzy Osbourne. Crazy Train. That's what he was saying. And if all of his tweets, because he's producing Black Adam, that he puts in every one of his tweets, hashtag Black Adam, there's nothing in his tweet that suggests there's a trailer coming. If there was a trailer coming, don't you think he would say trailer coming on the opening game? The Bills game. It's coming. You can see it. Tune in. They would be touting this to the high heavens. It would be on Dwayne Johnson's Instagram feed. In 2 days, the NFL game. That's not the only thing. That football's not the only thing flying. They would do some shit like that, and it would be a huge deal.
Finally,
The
Rock comes back to Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, it would do some huge. And the fact that they're not, I don't even understand how somebody came up with the idea that there is going to be a trailer dropping. It doesn't say that.
Hashtag Black Adam.
But if all of this,
September
if all of his tweets have hashtag Black Adam, he produced the movie, he's going to put that on every tweet until the movie comes out. That's just par for the course.
And you'd be the first one out to do it. Ray, you're seeing this. You saw the tweet. Do you think there's going to be a Black Adam trailer on Thursday? It doesn't matter what you think. Sorry, I had to do it just once. No, really. Do you think there's going to be a trailer this Thursday?
I'm not answering anything.
No, come on. No, really. Do you think there's going to be a trailer?
Okay, Ray, if you're not going to answer him, Ray, do you think that there's going to be a Black Adam trailer?
Let me take that line out. Ray, will there be a Black Adam trailer this Friday? Or this Thursday, I should say.
Remember the last bet we made for a trailer on a football game?
I do. Yes, I do. I lost that bet.
Is this where we're going right now?
Oh, maybe. You want to put something on it?
But I think the person who says there's going to be a trailer Thursday has the upper hand. Because didn't that tweet almost confirm that there will be a trailer?
I don't think so.
I don't
really
either.
I don't think it did. So I'll give you the pro if you want. I'll take the con. I'll say if you want to make it a bet, even though I'm not convinced there won't be,
okay.
I'll take there won't be a trailer this Thursday.
I'll take there will be. But now we need to have some stakes on this.
Yes, we do.
Can I hop in on this bet?
Oh dear.
I have some news though. The Rock confirmed it on his Twitter about 3 hours ago.
Oh, he did. See, that's what I just said.
waited.
Maybe somebody confirmed. So he did. The Rock did that.
Yeah, about 3 hours ago.
Okay, do me a favor. Go to
Taylor's
Dwayne The Rock
not
Johnson's.
my favorite person anymore.
Go to Dwayne The Rock Johnson's Twitter feed and bring that up, because if he actually confirmed it, then there we go. Ray, you should have moved faster to make that bet, man. Because
Look what happened.
look what happened.
Jonathan
Okay.
would never done that.
See, but this is what we've been saying, right? It's like, why would the producer be doing that and not Dwayne The Rock Johnson? We've been able to find that tweet
One sec.
that apparently he pulled up. Look, if this is real, and this is true that Dwayne Johnson just actually...
Can we just talk about how badass Dr. Fate looks in this shot
Oh,
here?
yeah, but
Come on,
Dr. Fate in
dude.
this can be... And it's being played by Pierce Brosnan.
I know. I Wow.
Remington Bond is playing Dr. Fate, which is going to be awesome.
Remington Bond.
But I mean, again, if this is true, the putting this on that day is going to be awesome. What's that say Thursday?
It's a pinned tweet. Just go down a little more. Here we go.
No,
Drops this week.
and yes, our second trailer of Black Adam drops this week. Okay, he doesn't say Thursday, but what was that picture of him that said Thursday?
Then up
Further
here,
up.
he retweeted that Thursday.
Thursday. And what? I can't read it on the screen. What does it say? Okay.
It just says Art of Disruption new. Oh, this is the drops in 2 days, Project Rock. So that's not.
Okay, so that has to have nothing to do with the
Yeah.
trailer. But he is saying a new trailer drops this week.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll be Thursday Night Football. Maybe it won't. But I mean,
It's still on, then. This man is still on, baby.
but then here's the question, Rob. Look, they went through. They're calling it the second trailer. This is really the third.
Third trailer. There's a teaser and a trailer.
A pretty full, filled out teaser.
Yeah.
How important is we're at a third trailer now. They've got to start giving something about this movie, like letting the audience know a bit about what this movie's about, because I'm going to be honest with you. I get hundreds, sometimes thousands of messages a day from our viewers, whether it's an email or on my social media or in the comments on our videos. I'm going to be straight up honest with you. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is probably my second favorite movie star in the world. I love the guy. He's amazing. He's the most electrifying entertainment in the world. But I have not been sensing or feeling a sense from the general audience a huge amount of anticipation for this movie. And that to me is a failure in the marketing. And I think they really need, if a new trailer is indeed coming out this week, which sounds like it is, and if it is on Thursday Night Football, which is a huge stage for them to drop it on, if it is on Thursday Night Football, they've got to make this one count. I mean, the trailers previously have been fun, but I don't know that they've been trailers that are going to get people who have been on the fence excited about going to see this movie. I think they've got to deliver with this trailer. What do you think?
I agree 100%. I mean, they haven't given me, at least, and I'm an easy lay when it comes to this kind of material. I'll watch any superhero film, but even this film, I'm like, okay, what are you going to do for me that hasn't been done for me better by other superhero movies? You know, I mean, it might be fun to watch, but is this going to be a Morbius situation? I mean, I hope not, but I'm looking. I mean, the Morbius trailers were, I hate to say it, more intriguing to me than
the Morbius trailers are quite good.
Quite good. This is like, I'm like, what I don't know is, okay, there's a character named Black Adam who's menacing, who wants to kill people, or who has no problem killing people. Great. So there's your character. What is the story? What is he going to be doing when he gets here? No idea. And I want a reason to go to this film. How is Black Adam going to differentiate itself from any other superhero movie? Other than the fact that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson,
because they haven't told us yet,
and we haven't even seen. We've seen glimpses, images of Hawkman, badass.
Yeah.
Dr. Fate, badass. I mean, the Justice Society of America is in this movie. I want to see them interact. I want to see. Give me a reason to even see them.
but we don't even know who the antagonist is. Again, not officially. Ray, did you have something there?
Yeah, I just want to know what network does Thursday Night Football play on? Do we know?
I thought it was
Is that
Fox.
NFL?
I thought it was Fox, but I might be wrong about that. It's probably CBS or NBC. I don't think it's ESPN.
Because, you know how sometimes they have, football on ABC. I was like, ABC would never.
It might be ABC. I'm not sure. Here's what they should do, though. If they're really good, if they do it on Thursday Night Football, here's what they should do. Either before or after Ozzy Osbourne does like a halftime show, the lights should go down the stadium and come up, and Rock should be standing at center field.
They're saying it's NBC.
It is NBC. Okay,
So that's
that
a
makes
prime
sense.
time channel right there.
Yeah. So and it should be him in the middle of the field, and he should say, "Finally, the Rock has come back to Los Angeles, and the power dynamic in the DC universe is about to change." And then they should they should go balls to the wall with this. They should put Rock there physically in person at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, get that audience buzzing and going, drop the trailer.
I'm with you. Do something like that.
Because
bring some showmanship.
They
to it
need
all.
it. They need it. Because right now, I mean, the amount of, not that we're trying to compare Black Adam to Black Panther. I'm not. But right now, the amount of buzz and energy and excitement surrounding Black Panther is so eclipsing. I mean, Black Adam's really not even on the radar yet because they haven't given us a reason to yet, other than The Rock is in it. And
Not enough.
not enough. Like, if anybody would be enough, it would be him. But it's not enough. They got to do more. Anyway, guys, Question is for you. What do you think about this? Apparently a new trailer is coming. Do you think it's going to be on Thursday Night Football? Damn, I hope it is. I hope they go all out for it. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, let's move on to our fourth and final main topic today. Rob, what is our fourth main topic today?
Our fourth main topic comes to us from the monstrous Mike. Wondering if you saw that David Sandberg just debunked the rumors that Shazam got delayed because Warner Brothers told him to reshoot some of it. I guess some people thought that's why they delayed it. Apparently, the movie's been locked for a while now, and it's almost done. Do you believe him?
All right. So, yeah, recently when they announced that they were going to be moving the release dates for number one, Aquaman, which they bumped back a lot. They also ended up moving Shazam. Now, they only moved Shazam by a couple of months, maybe like 12 weeks, 10 weeks, something like that. It wasn't a major move. They moved it to where Aquaman was going to come out, and they wanted to move it away from Avatar so they can have some IMAX screens for Shazam. But still, and understandably, a bunch of people in the fandom were wondering, like after Batgirl got canceled, oh no, is Warner Brothers making them change the movie? Are they making them retool the movie? And the narrative in some circles online has been that Shazam is undergoing massive reshoots and they're going to be doing all this kind of stuff. Well, apparently that is simply not true. The director's come out and kind of put that to rest when he was asked online by a fan. This came to us from that exchange. The fan asked, are you guys really doing reshoots for Shazam or is that fake news? To which the director, David Sandberg, said, no. I've seen reports that Shazam is being quote unquote retooled, but it's not true. The cut has been locked for quite some time, and we're doing the final mix, color, and visual effects right now. Everyone is happy with the film, and we're not going to work any longer on it just because of the release date shift. They figured Aquaman's previous date was better for us, and that's the reason we moved. Definitely not shooting more. Now, this is interesting. Taylor, you can look this up for me because I didn't actually look at it. David Sandberg, at the same time the story came out, another story came out that he was actually offered a Marvel movie. And I can't remember, I don't know which one that was. I never looked it up. So if you can look up that story, Taylor, and find out what movie that was, that would be interesting to find out. But the fact that he's come out and said, no. It's done. And here's an important thing, Rob. Before you're doing a visual effects, which is a hugely expensive part of the process, the studio usually has to greenlight where your film's at. Because what they don't want to do is to spend all the money on all the visual effects and then give a story change note that you got to go back and redo.
Right.
So they want to see that they've got the edit lock, and then they'll go ahead and do that. So they seem to be at a place right now that, no, the studio's happy with it. They're happy with it. Everybody's thrilled. We're just going to finish it off. And we literally just moved it because it was a great date and Aquaman wasn't on it anymore. I'm more worried about Aquaman, to be honest with you.
Right.
But the Shazam thing, I think it's a fairly solid lock right now. And you know me, I like the first Aquaman movie. No, let me rephrase. I love the first Shazam movie. Love the first Shazam movie. More than most people do, I admit. So I'm super excited for this thing. I think the previews for it, they showed us both at CinemaCon and we've seen since, have been absolutely hilarious. I cannot wait to see this damn thing, and I'm happy for its date change. But you hear about all this, and what do you think about what Sandberg is saying and even his need to say it?
Well, first of all, I believe that I utterly believe him. I mean, that movie's been in production for quite some time. And this was going to come out before, a lot. I think it was already supposed to have come out its original release date. It's been moved a few times. I've never heard anything about this movie being in any kind of trouble. And as we know that there's been a VFX pipeline issue all the way back to that threatened the release of Sonic 2. So this is not a surprise. The longer time that they've been given probably allowed them, like Sandberg says, to finish the VFX, to finish the final mix. And remember, the studios, they don't like it when their movies are being butted up against their release dates. If they can have them, ideally, studios would like to have their movies. I mean, it was really... there were times when things like Terminator 2 were very, very tight schedules. Peter Jackson pushed the Lord of the Rings movies up to literally the very last minute. Like, if this print doesn't get on this plane at this minute, we're going to miss the release. Studios don't like that at all. That is not a way to make films. So this idea that, release dates might have been shifting, but I think this film is, like Sandberg says, that it's completed, it's done, and there was no problem making this movie. I don't think they had any of those problems.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Contrary to all the rumors, Shazam was not going through massive reshoots. They weren't changing the movie. It is coming, but where's your excitement level for Shazam right now? Not a lot of people are as excited about it as me. I understand. Maybe you're one of them.
Helen Mirren as the villain excites me, dude.
I mean, that's going to be so
Come
great.
on.
That scene where she's sitting at the picnic table with the French fries with Shazam. I love that. Anyway, what do you guys think about this? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, it is now that part of the show that we are now officially opening up the super chats because we're going to spend the rest of our time hearing from you guys. If you've got a thought, theory, opinion, question, speculation about any of the topics that we just discussed or that we didn't, go ahead and fire those in now, and Rob and I will discuss those for the last little bit of the show. One last plea here. Try to avoid multi-part questions if you possibly can, because it does make it more difficult for us, and you raise the risk of us maybe missing one of yours, so just be careful about that. All right. But before we get to those live questions, guys, we're going to hear from one more sponsor of today's show, our friends and my phone service provider, the great people over at Mint Mobile. We want to take a second and thank the sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of the retail stores and pass those sweet savings directly to you. And guys, I have been using Mint Mobile for months now, and I could not be more thrilled with the service. I also couldn't be more thrilled with the fact that my phone bill now is literally 1/3 of what it used to be with my previous major carrier. All plans come with unlimited talk and text, plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with your existing contacts. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. And thank you to Ryan Reynolds and the good folks at Mint Mobile for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Okay, guys, with that all down, now let's go over and hear from you guys. And we're going to start, of course, with our beloved channel members. And by the way, I forgot to mention off the top of the show, if you are a channel member, a little bit later today at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we are going to be having a channel members only town hall meeting where I'm going to be doing a live stream just with you guys. I'm going to give you guys some behind the scenes stuff about some announcements about some things we've got coming up on the channel, allow you guys to ask me some questions that you have. So if you are a channel member, make sure you come and join us at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That'll be a little bit later today. All right, Ray, what are our channel members asking?
Our first one comes from Raymond Reddington. He says, what did everyone think of Jurassic World Dominion? I don't think you ever did a review for it on the channel.
It was all right. It was all right. I mean, I watched it because Ray bought it at my place. That's how usually Ray watches. He just buys it on my accounts in my place. What did you think of it, Ray?
It was pretty good. It was okay. It was okay. I mean, there should have been more dinosaurs for sure. Those flying things.
Oh yeah, the whole insect aspect of it was strange.
Yeah,
It was very odd. What
Very
a disappointment.
But I mean, but it had some upside too. It did.
I didn't hate it.
Had some upside too. It was okay. The best I will say, it's okay. All right, what's next?
We just got one in from Jose Santiago. He says, if Harry Styles did indeed spit on Chris Pine, do you think this behavior will affect his joining the MCU?
Okay, and again, listen, this is a huge asterisk. This is a massive capital I, capital F, if. But if, somebody gives Chris Pine a call and say, hey, did that dude really spit on you? And he says, yeah, he did. Yeah, Kevin Feige should fire him instantly. Yep. He should nobody should ever work with this little bitch again. Nobody should ever work with him again. Period. End of sentence. No discussion. Like, you're going to act like that at the world premiere of your film that you're supposed to be promoting and presenting a unified thing. And in the theater at the Venice Film Festival, where the world of movie punditry and journalism is gathered, and you decide to walk in and spit on, by the way, a guy who is 50 times the man and actor that you will ever be in your pathetic little life. then no one should ever work with this asshole again. Again.
If it's true.
Yeah. Let's not forget, 5 minutes after the show's over, Chris Pine may literally put out a tweet says, guys, Harry didn't spit on me, okay? He sneezed and I gave him a dirty look. How dare you? Like, seriously, it could be nothing. We got to keep that in mind. All right, what's next?
Face mask, y'all. If they were wearing face masks, it wouldn't have been a problem. Rob Vilar writes, Amazon also had lots of marketing on their packages too. Did any of you have the chance to watch House of Hammer yet that released last Friday?
Oh, I didn't even know it came out yet.
Yeah, I haven't watched it either.
I mean, of course, we talked about the trailer that they dropped for it a while ago, which
more
was,
lascivious, horrible. Yeah,
it was disturbing.
Yeah,
Can't wait to see it.
I'll probably watch it.
It looks very tough.
Yeah, it looks like it'd be a tough thing to get through and watch, but I am morbidly curious. I'll probably watch it. And it's a shame too, because Armie Hammer, like, he was a top 10, top 15 favorite actor of mine for a little while. So watching it's going to be tough. All right, what's next?
All right, Jesse Price writes, hey Rob, have you tried mozzarella sticks with sour cream?
Yes.
And
did you not see the video? Actually, I'm actually not on video. I was not. Look, I didn't hate it. Didn't hate it. I think we all three of us tried it. Taylor, Jonathan, and I tried it yesterday. We put out a video on Instagram. I didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it. I just didn't love it. It was all right.
Like, would you ever have it again? If mozzarella sticks were there, would you actually go out your way?
No, man,
order
I'm a traditionalist. I like Jonathan put it best. He likes the acidic, that marinara sauce. When you have that marinara sauce, I mean, mozzarella cheese is not. I'm a cheese fan. Mozzarella cheese is a very bland cheese as far as cheese goes. It's great for pizzas, but you need that marinara sauce to sort of take it over the top.
Jose Santiago, who actually just wrote that premium member chat, he just gifted 5 John Campea memberships.
Oh, thank you, Jose.
So thank you for that.
Giving memberships out to some of our members. Now those brand new members that Jose just gifted, can come and join us for our members-only town hall meeting later. That's great. Thank you, Jose.
Okay, the Super Ranger Mud Truck writes, hey, John, what do you think about them making a Cat in the Hat 2 when it comes into the public domain, similar to Pooh, Blood, and Honey?
You can't make a Cat in the Hat 2. Because you can make, if Cat in the Hat comes into the public domain, you can make a Cat in the Hat thing, but you cannot base it on somebody else's previous work.
Maybe he meant 2 as in TOO. 2 as in like.
How did he write it? Is it
he put 2, but what if you meant it as in?
And that's the thing about stuff. Thor, anybody can make a Thor movie that they want. You just can't base any of it on any of the stuff that Marvel's done with Thor. But on the original basic mythology of Thor, Rob and I can make a Thor movie tomorrow if we want. We can make a Winnie the Pooh movie, which is why we're getting that Winnie the Pooh horror movie, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Then, yeah, somebody else can take a shot if they want.
I gotta say, I found Mike Myers, just the look of his Cat in the Hat, extremely creepy for some reason.
I think Mike
so
Myers
imagine
finds it
that,
creepy
like,
too.
murdering people. That could be.
Oh, yeah, do a Cat in the Hat horror movie, like the Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I'll be there for it.
All right. The last one we got is from Dwayne Cinema. He writes, finished watching Netflix Daredevil prior to his MCU debut. It was great. Also, my D23 guesses are Indy 5 trailer, Deadpool 3 news, X-Men news, and Fantastic Four cast.
The only thing I'm going to say that I don't agree is X-Men news. I think they're going to keep that in their pocket. I think that, but Deadpool 3, absolutely. Indiana Jones trailer, absolutely. What was the other one? Fantastic Four
Cast.
Absolutely. 100%.
What about the X-Men cartoon?
There is a separate panel for animation, I think.
Okay.
And I absolutely believe, they'll do some stuff with the X-Men cartoon. But I think actual X-Men news, because I still feel like that's a couple of years away, I think they're going to keep that in their pocket for another thing. What do you think?
They might announce what their plan is. Like they might announce, we have a plan.
Sure.
And here's the plan.
But you don't think they're going to have up on the screen a big X-Men summer 2024 or whatever?
I think that they're going to lead off with a Wolverine movie.
It wouldn't be bad. They've got a big Wolverine game coming out. That wouldn't be bad. All right, what's next?
Is that it?
That it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, let's move over to the super chats. Rob, what do we got?
Andy says, one of two. I watched Jaws for the first time ever in IMAX. Sadly, I had to go to the lobby just before the ending to answer a text because I got invited to an
Be careful with the multi-part questions in our very first one. Multi-part question.
an orgy. In the end, I missed out on what I was told was a killer ending, and the group thing I got invited to was canceled. SMH. What a sad weekend. First of all, Andy, I don't care what kind of an orgy you were going to go to. You missed the end of Jaws.
Yeah, no,
you've let us all down.
You don't do
You've
that.
done yourself a disservice. You'll never forget what you did. You had an opportunity to see Jaws in IMAX.
Go back and watch Riverdale.
Dude, come on, man. No orgy is worth missing a first-time screening of Jaws.
Sex comes and goes as easy as anything, man. But the ending of Jaws on your first screening, dude? For shame. What's that Game of Thrones lady? Shame.
Oh, yeah.
Shame. Walk around with your held head low, my friend.
Now that's a climax.
Yeah, you got denied 2 great climaxes,
All
apparently.
right, what's next?
Ron H. says, hey, John, what do you think about Nate versus Kazmat? Would love an upset.
There is never, I don't think you will ever see a more one-sided fight in the UFC ever. Nate has no prayer. No, I think the UFC is mad at Nate Diaz, and they are literally throwing him in front of this buzzsaw that nobody has been able to even remotely slow down yet. Seriously, it's like they're throwing Nate Diaz as raw meat into a hungry wolf. I'll be surprised if it gets out of the second round, to be honest with you. I mean, I love Nate Diaz. I'd love to see him put on a good show, but I really think we're about to see him get slaughtered like we've never seen him beaten before. Yeesh. All right, what's next?
Luis Enrique de la Peña says, if they're not doing a film about Maverick Sr., what do you think about a Top Gun movie about the origins of the program in the late 60s with new characters?
Same problem. I don't think the general audience cares about the Top Gun name as much as they are about Tom Cruise in the Top Gun name. Plus, they wouldn't be able to make the movies the way that Tom Cruise wants these movies made now, actually in the actual planes, actually filming because those planes aren't around to do it in. So, yeah, I just don't see it happening.
Those jets aren't as exciting either.
And
they're just not as technologically advanced. They can't handle as many maneuvers.
You already did the Star Wars Death Star trench run. So, I mean, what's left? All right, what's next?
They actually fly into a cave, and then they have to blow up the core of the cave, and then get out
in time as the cave is exploding behind them. Perfect.
Elizabeth Gerardo says, at the last D23 Expo, they had a panel specifically for Disney Plus. After seeing the schedule, no Disney Plus panel. Are they using the Marvel Star Wars panel to announce both movies and TV shows?
It is a Lucasfilm as a part of that panel. So Lucasfilm entails Disney Plus, but I believe they are doing Disney Plus Day.
Yeah, that's like on September 8th.
Yeah, which is coming up here. So they're doing Disney Plus Day. So I do expect the big Lucasfilm Star Wars Disney Plus announcements will come on the Saturday with Lucasfilm. At least that's what I'm expecting. All right, what's next?
Al Renshaw says, I have no idea what Black Adam is about. They should bring Cavill as well and make it Sophie Henry.
Sophie Henry. Listen, somebody asked me this question. It's a good question. They say, John, if Henry Cavill is in this movie, which let's face it, he's probably not. But if he was, do I think they should advertise that or keep it secret? Normally, I give the correct but non-fan friendly answer, which is you market it because you got to sell the movie.
Right.
Look what happened to Justice League when they didn't market Henry Cavill as Superman in the movie, realized that was a terrible mistake, and then started putting him in all the thing. I think you market it. But in this specific situation where Henry Cavill's appearance would be as Superman would be such a surprise, I will actually go the opposite this time and say they should probably keep it secret.
I just think that, keeping something like that a secret lasts until the first show happens Thursday night at 7:00, and then it's not a secret anymore. And then if you haven't marketed it that way.
Let me put it this way. If Henry Cavill is in more than 7 minutes of the movie,
right,
then you market it. If it's a pop-up quick surprise, then yeah, you keep it secret. All right, what's next?
I pray for the person who's sitting in front of you if Henry Cavill is in this movie, because they're going to get a nice surprise.
It's going to be jizz-tastic, my friend.
I wanted to point out Cullen Prime. He just sent a premium chat, but it was just to thank Jose Santiago for gifting him a membership.
Oh, that's awfully nice of you, man. All right, what's next?
James Court says, why no chat on Better Call Saul? Amazing finale and a better show than Breaking Bad.
Because you don't watch it. Can't talk about a show I don't watch. I saw the first 2 seasons, really, really liked it, but I just fell off of it. I never got back on, even though I like the show, but we don't watch it. That's why we don't talk about it. All right, what's next?
Ian S. says, hey, John and Rob, my most anticipated movie for the rest of the year is Amsterdam. What are you all looking forward to? Also, it's my birthday. I'm 29.
You know, people ask, I do these Ask Me Anythings on the community tab quite a bit. And people, what's your most anticipated movie? I was like, dude, I have no idea about release calendars. Other than the fact of what's coming out this week, I have a hard time remembering what's coming out this year, but Amsterdam absolutely ranks very high on the list. They showed us a big preview for it at CinemaCon.
Oh, it looks fantastic.
Looks so good. The cast is killer. Fantastic director. I mean, I know we were both really excited about this.
Absolutely. And, I will tell you, yesterday I have an Amazon Fire Stick in my TV. Amsterdam, the banner has now popped up.
Oh, nice.
So they've moved into the marketing mode of that film. And it's David O. Russell's new movie.
Yep.
I mean, it just
and he's worked with a number of these actors before. Obviously, a lot with Christian Bale, and they've won Oscars working with Christian Bale.
What a powerhouse cast. That movie looks wildly entertaining. Yeah. I'm very looking forward to it.
Cannot wait.
Fantastic.
All right, what's next?
Stub McShave says, we get a full course meal with Rings of Power and House of the Dragon episodes. Disney series like Obi-Wan and She-Hulk feels like an appetizer or small salad in comparison.
I think that's fair. And, an appetizer and a small salad can be perfectly delightful. I mean, obviously, look, I was kind of disappointed with Obi-Wan. I'm enjoying She-Hulk, but let's not, as much as I'm enjoying She-Hulk, it is a light dish.
Yes.
It's light. It's meant to be just kind of fun. You don't have a scene with Megan Thee Stallion and She-Hulk twerking if you're trying to be House of the Dragon. No, it's not something you do. But so, yeah, though, I agree. They do seem, Obi-Wan should have been a main course. Should have been a main course. But I was disappointed with Obi-Wan. But still, being a light appetizer, that's fine. You're right, though. Rings of Power and House of the Dragon are the meaty bits.
Absolutely.
The main course.
100%. I totally agree.
All right, what's next?
Suthius says, Lin is about to shake hands with Zaslav. Door opens, and in walks Feige. Lin looks at Feige, then looks at Zaslav, then looks back at Feige. Shit. Lin gets up and shakes Feige's hand. Laugh out loud. And scene.
The thing is, so first of all, Kevin Feige ain't about to come in and offer Lin his job. So that's a different thing. But it's almost like I picture in my head that infamous Shawn Michaels kicking Marty Jannetty through the pane glass of the barber shop in Brutus the Barber Beefcake's interview segment back in the old WWE days. The quick screw job. Man. That's a deep cut. Most of you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, but that's a deep, deep cut. Kudos to you if you actually know what I'm referring to. All right, what's next?
Sam Fisher says, one thing I want to see in House of the Dragon is how does Valerian go from the wealthiest house being a dead house and the Lannister house being the wealthiest house?
Well, I mean, I think they kind of revealed that in Game of Thrones. The Mad King got overthrown. There was a revolt led by Robert Baratheon and supported by the Starks and all that kind of stuff, and they deposed them. I mean, obviously, we're about to see a civil war with the Targaryens as well. That's going to diminish them a lot as well. But right up until the beginning of Game of Thrones, or just not long before the beginning of Game of Thrones, Targaryen was still on the throne and then got deposed.
Yeah. So they were there for a while.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
They just had no dragons. Edgar Magana says, have you heard about the new Blade Runner 2099?
Yeah, I like Amazon. I think it's Amazon is talking about
a series,
spinning up a high budgeted series. And I'll tell you right now, I think it's a mistake. I think it's a mistake. Nobody went to go see Blade Runner 2049 was fantastic. And nobody went to go see it.
Nope. Didn't make a lot of money.
So spending that kind of money, rolling the dice on a Lord of the Rings, that's a much better bet. Obviously, they're not going to spend Lord of the Rings money on it, but I think it's a mistake. I don't know, Rob, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, okay, if you have an idea for a story about replicants who are essentially, I mean, they've sort of covered the ground of Blade Runner is that can an artificially created life form have a soul? Basically, that question has been asked and answered. The answer is yes, it can. That was the whole point. And then Blade Runner 2049, we know that a replicant can now reproduce with a human being. So replicants are actual human beings. They can reproduce. So 50 years on, what's going to happen? What's the story?
Replicants pay taxes? I mean, I don't know. I'm stretching.
I don't know.
Yeah, what's the story 50 years? I don't
know. Oh, they can have kids now.
They can have kids. Okay. We got to have that problem. You can have that problem too. All right, what's next?
Stubble McShave says, I wouldn't be surprised if the showrunner left to develop the next Game of Thrones series coming after Jon Snow. I don't think House of the Dragon or Snow will have many seasons. I don't know if that's true, but I agree with Stubble. I wouldn't imagine that House of the Dragon, with the rate, the way they're jumping ahead in time.
They've gone through 3.5 years already.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Targaryen Civil War would serve itself well. Maybe it's only one and done, or two. It's going to be 2 seasons. I can't see them stringing it out any longer. And I think the idea of if you could get multiple series that are the quality of House of the Dragon, and they were limited shows, maybe 1 or 2 or even 3 seasons, that's a really cool way to go.
Yeah, but I got a feeling if he was still wanting to play in the Game of Thrones sandbox after working full time in it, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 3 years, I think he would just stay. I don't know that he's left it just to do more Game of Thrones. I think HBO gave him an open first look deal so he can kind of play in other sandboxes too. So
yeah, and
it'll be interesting.
He probably already has a series he himself wants to develop.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he has something he wants to do, the same way that homeboy whatchamajigger is making Star Wars Skeleton Crew.
Right.
John Watts.
He
already knew that he already knew what he wanted to do. So he had an opportunity, he had the clout. Now he gets to go make something he wanted to make.
All right, what's next?
Kylo Ken says, "Hi guys. With Don't Worry Darling getting a 39% on Rotten Tomatoes, if it severely underperforms, could it affect Olivia Wilde's offers to do Marvel content at Sony and Disney?"
It would not be the first time something like that has happened. I present to the jury Exhibit Y, Josh Trank.
Yeah.
Who had a deal in place to do what we now know was going to be a Boba Fett movie for Lucasfilm. And then Fantastic Four came out. And then all the drama that surrounded the Fantastic Four. And then suddenly there were schedule conflicts and he wasn't. Later we found, of course, he was summarily fired and dropped from the project. And then they just killed the project altogether. So it would not be the first time something like that happened. It's not normal, though. It isn't normal for it to happen. But listen, if, and again, giant asterisk if this movie does underperform, and then the studio decides that they're going to paint a direct arrow pointing to this all started because you decided to fool around with one of the actors on set that caused all this behind the scenes drama. This caused all the things, the turmoil. It distracted from our marketing of the film. It created all this circus sideshow, that the whole thing, and it hurt our film. If the studio decides that that's what happened, again, this is all theoretical. It's all built on if. But if that's what happens, yeah, I could see other studios who had been lined up to work with her going, oh, you know what? I totally forgot we were supposed to be doing something else. And maybe go in another direction. I don't know. What do you think?
No, either way, I think Olivia Wilde's status as a director in the industry, an up-and-coming director in the industry, is definitely damaged. Doesn't matter. I mean, like you said, winning cures everything. If this movie was a huge success, maybe. But it looks like it's not going to be a huge success. So she's got 2 strikes against her. She's got all this social media turmoil, and her film underperformed.
So now it becomes the question of, does that drama, and listen, I am saying that you guys have watched my show. I am a big Olivia Wilde fan.
Me too.
I'm a huge, love her. But if you're a studio, this is the type of circus that is going to travel with her now. And if you're a studio and you're looking at making another movie, do I want the press talking about my movie, or do they want the press talking about all this drama baggage that she brings along with her? And I don't know what the answer to that is. I don't know. I'm not trying to be judgy. This is somebody I'm a big fan of. I'm just saying I don't know what the answer to that is.
I don't either.
All right, what's next?
Jay Master says, breaking, Chris Pine rep says that Harry Styles didn't spit on the actor, calling it complete fabrication. There is nothing but respect between these two men, and any suggestion otherwise is a blatant attempt to create drama.
First of all, Jay, thanks for tipping in $20. Appreciate that. Okay, so I don't know if what you're saying is true, but what did I just say a minute ago? For all we know, 5 minutes from now, Chris Pine may put it on Twitter, no, Harry did not spit at me, right? He did not spit at me, right? If that's the case, and this is actually accurate information that Jay is giving us, if he's getting it from an accurate source, then that answers that question. I told you, the first time I saw it, and I just watched Harry, I'm like, well, maybe he spit, but he could be doing anything. It was Pine's look on Pine's face, because Pine looked like a man who just got spit on. But I mean, if he didn't, then it's just another thing surrounding this thing. So here's hoping that's the case.
Yeah.
Hoping that's the case. All right, what's next?
And my IMHO reviews says, do you think Warner Brothers could replicate Disney's strategy and re-release the Suicide Squad now that the word is out that it was awesome?
What would be the point?
Yeah.
I mean, what would be the point? Spider-Man did two things. Spider-Man, number one, was a record-shattering box office, wildly popular film that made in the billions of dollars. And then you re-released that with extra footage, and it made almost $6 million. Great. Suicide Squad is a fabulous movie, but ain't nobody saw it. Nobody went to go see it. And it didn't make anywhere near the impact that Spider-Man No Way Home did. What would be the point of doing a re-release? Do you think it's going to make as much as Spider-Man's re-release? It wouldn't. Maybe makes a fifth, so maybe $1 million. I really just don't see the point of it.
Anyone that heard it was great just streamed it. So.
Yeah, anybody heard it's great. It's already watched it on HBO Max for free. And I say this as somebody who totally loves this movie, but I just don't see there being any point. All right, what's next?
Elmist says the DC fans scared Dan Lin away.
I don't think that's true at all.
Not
I think
either.
if they would have, he wouldn't have entered negotiations at all. I think this is exactly what the report said it was. I don't think they were able to come to financial terms on the idea of him having to walk away from his production company. I think it was going to cost a lot more than they should pay. And I don't blame him for asking for it, because you're walking away from a huge thing that you built. So I don't blame him asking for any amount of money that he asked for. But at some point, you got to say, I think you mentioned this, Rob, it just in principle, you can't pay X amount of dollars for one person. So yeah. All right, what's next?
Andy says HBO Max released the first full episode of House of the Dragon on YouTube.
Yes, they did.
Whoever's running HBO Max and its marketing are geniuses. It helps them stand out from other services. Now, they've released other various first episodes of shows. I think there's no better way to get people interested than that.
It's a terrific idea. The episode's already out, right? It's out. You got nothing to lose at this point. For all those people who are not yet HBO subscribers, hey, watch it for free. Come get your first hit. They're the crack dealer on the corner, man. Get your first hit for free and get hooked. It is a brilliant idea. More shows should do this. YouTube for them is a free service. Pop it up on there. Let people see it. Attract them to your subscription service. It was a great idea.
I wonder if it's ad-free on YouTube. Can you watch the whole hour ad-free?
I think that's a YouTube decision.
Yeah, but I'd be curious.
All right, what's next?
Victor Edbaum says this past week.
By the way, Victor tipped in like $21. Thank you, Victor. Appreciate that,
Thank you for that, Victor. This past weekend, I had a horror double feature at home. You're going to love this, John. With An American Werewolf in London and The Descent.
My two favorite horror movies. Thank you, dude.
Both for the first time, and I thought they were so good. Thank you, John, for putting these on my radar. By the way, John, that is an outstanding double feature.
Two completely different films, too.
There you go. Look at John's got a laser disc.
This is the laser disc of American Werewolf in London that was given to me as a gift by Robert Meyer Burnett.
I got to get you a frame for that so you can put it up in the office.
I do have to get this. I'm going to take this to Michael's and get it framed, actually. The American Werewolf in London to this day remains the only horror movie that I cannot watch at night with the lights off. That's it. No other movie. I mean, I obviously watched this when I was a young kid, and the trauma has stayed with me my whole life. The Descent is a modern horror masterpiece. The tension in that movie is so
the transformation stuff. You know, the American Werewolf was the first film to win an Oscar for makeup effects.
That's right.
In '81 for Rick Baker stuff, and that physical transformation in bright light, still one of the great transformation sequences in any movie.
So, dude, that is a great
good.
double feature. I got to do that sometime. And The Descent is just, and it's coming soon. Me sitting, Chris Carr and Aaron Cummings down to watch The Descent and filming their experience watching it. I'm so excited about that. I don't know that I'm excited.
I just
want to
watch
their video.
I want to watch their reaction.
All right, what's next?
TJ Thomas said, "Ever watch Person of Interest? Really great TV show.
Always heard great things about it. Never got around to it. It had a long, successful run. I got to watch it sometime.
I watched it sporadically, but there was this overarching mythology that I wanted to see how it was resolved.
This is the guy from Lost, right? And
Michael Emerson
and the guy from
who played Jesus.
and
Jim Caviezel.
Caviezel, that's his name. That's right. Yeah, no, I've always heard it was good.
Yeah.
I just never got around to watching it. Someday when I catch like a really bad flu that has me on my ass for a week or so, I'll probably just binge through that or something. All right, what's next?
Joshua Cohen says, I know that you don't like X actor in X role, but how about Tom Holland as Harry Styles?
I have no idea what you mean.
If he can spit, he's got the job.
If he can spit,
I guess like Tom Holland playing Harry Styles in the Harry Styles biopic.
Why wouldn't you just get Harry
Britain's
Styles?
Got Talent all the way to dating Olivia Wilde on the set of Don't Worry, Darling.
I mean, Tom Holland would probably act as Harry Styles better than Harry Styles would as Harry Styles. But I mean, other than that, I don't see. I'm sorry. Apparently he's not that good of an actor.
The Harry Styles army of fans is going to descend on the show, and we're all going to get swarmed.
All right, what's next?
Al Renshaw says, this past weekend was probably the best weekend, most relaxing in my life. I saw my cousin. I went to Maestro at the movies on Saturday and tried various restaurants. Damn near religious experience.
Listen, I'll tell you what, though, going to that Maestro of the Movies concert every year is like one of the highlights of the year for me, going to see the goat of goats, John Williams, up on stage doing his thing. And that Philharmonic is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
And you pointed this out the other day, that the sound in the Hollywood Bowl is immaculate.
Especially for a symphony.
Yeah.
I mean, you can hear every instrument.
It's just so good. And yeah, it is a nigh religious experience. You're right about that, man. All right, what's next?
Bradley Michaels says 4-day Samba TV's House of the Dragon, 4.8 million U.S. households. Lord of the Rings, 1.8 million.
Yeah, that was Samba's thing. The real comparison, and Amazon disputes that, by the way. The one interesting thing came out that what's it called? Stranger Things. Stranger Things season 4 had, I think, a 25% higher U.S. viewership than the debut episode of Rings of Power. Now, of course, there's a couple things there. This is season 4 of Netflix's by far most successful show, and it's their 4th season. It was the highly anticipated debut, and it finished ahead of the first episode of Rings of Power, the debut episode of Rings of Power, in the U.S. market alone. Worldwide, it's a different thing. But yeah, so the different numbers, different things. But I mean, there's just no getting around. Whatever way you want to paint that 9.8 million that House of the Dragon did, or whatever the 25 million are that Rings of Power is, both of these shows are out to gangbuster starts, way beyond what I thought they would. But for both of them, I never thought either of them would get those. I mean, we knew they would be big. I just didn't think either of them would be that big. All right, what's next?
Anubis Genocide said, thanks, Rob and Ray, for introducing me to For All Mankind. I binged it all over the weekend. Well, Anubis Genocide, that's a lot. That's 30
You
episodes.
guys promote this show more than Apple Plus does.
We do.
You do. I mean, you totally do.
We like this show more than Apple Plus likes it.
I mean, if any network is going to pay us something, they should pay us.
I mean, they did contact me, and we did get some free swag, which, by the way, we could use some more free swag. You know what? I would love to get that pin set, that exclusive pin set.
I think you're going to ask for a walk-on extra roll.
No.
Use a walk-on extra roll.
No.
I want to go to the moon. They need to take us to the moon.
I want to die on Mars. Come on.
All right.
What's next, John?
What's next?
IMHO.
In my honest opinion.
In my honest opinion reviews. I just want to say in my honest opinion. After Encanto and Raya, I'm really looking forward to what Disney Animation has been working on.
Listen, Disney Animation kind of for a little while became the ugly stepchild compared to Pixar. Pixar was the favorite kid under the Disney roof, but they have two. And the funny thing was, John Lasseter for the long time was the head of both animation studios. He was doing both. Now they have two separate leaders, both doing a terrific job. Disney Animation has been killing it. They've been doing really, really great. Whereas Pixar has been treated like the ugly stepchild lately. I mean, it's like not putting their films out in theaters, doubling down thing. Obviously, Lightyear did not work out the way they wanted it to. So it's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, Disney Animation been killing it. They've been doing a really good job. All right, what's next?
Vixter 5001 says, anyone surprised at Matt Smith's versatility in House of the Dragon? Should have seen him on stage in American Psycho, the musical. Scary and vulnerable all in one.
I'm not, I mean, I've never seen it, obviously, but I'm not surprised. The guy, Anne actually got me watching The Crown on Netflix, where he played Prince Philip. And he's so good in that. He's so good in that. Now, I'm not a Doctor Who viewer, so I never saw him as Doctor Who. But yeah, this guy has been nothing but amazing as Daemon Targaryen in House of the Dragon. I know Ray's over there nodding his head. Yep. That's Ray's guy. Is
Damon and Raymond.
Damon and
Match made in
Raymond.
heaven.
Greatness
Match
that
made in
rhymes. All right, what's next?
Dr. J says it's time for Ray Ora to move out of the studio kitchen and into his own executive office following today's outstanding graphics. You couldn't pay me to hang with that Don't Worry Darling crew. Hashtag Army of Ray.
Now, not a lot of people know that Ray actually runs everything here. Like he's the wizard behind the curtain.
If it smells like Hot Pockets, it's because of me. If it smells like any food in here, it's because of me.
Ray is the chief executive scent officer of the studio all the time. All right, what's next?
Trevor says, I went to the Paramount in Austin on Sunday to watch Lawrence of Arabia with a friend that had never seen it before and loved it. One of the best looking movies with an all-time great movie score. Well, Trevor, no one here is going to argue that. It's one of the greatest movies ever made.
Peter O'Toole, one of the greatest cinematography efforts you'll ever see in a film.
Omar Sharif.
Ever. That was one of the pivotal movies for me. My parents let me see that when I was like a kid. And whereas Star Wars is my earliest childhood memory, my parents showing me Lawrence of Arabia, it really solidified my love of movies. And that's why to this day, Lawrence of Arabia is in my top 10 all-time favorite films and probably always will be. If you are a film fan and you don't have Lawrence of Arabia in your repertoire right now, do yourself a favor, watch it. It's amazing, the scope. I mean, it's the scope of filmmaking that they really don't do a lot of anymore.
Right.
You look back at
they
Elizabeth
can't do it.
Taylor in Cleopatra or stuff like that, or I almost said Spartacus, not Spartacus, but Ben-Hur,
right?
Lawrence of Arabia, this grand scale kind of majestic filmmaking. Gotta watch it.
Actually, like I love that movie so much that one of my editor business cards is Lawrence of Arabia. So it's got him. It's the match, or it's the cut, the famous cut where he blows out the match, and it cuts to the wide shot. So on one side he's blowing out the match, and it's got some information for me. And then when you flip the card, it's the edit to the wide shot.
Nice.
It's got my contact info on it.
I like that.
That's clever.
All right, what's next?
Dwayne Fernandez says, hey guys, just wondering, since you have sources in Disney, Warner Brothers, why not ask them for scoops from time to time?
Number one, because that's not what you should do. Yep. Number two, that's how you end relationships with people that you have. Number three, fuck scoops. I am not in the scoop business. I mean, like there have been I think four times that I have broken a scoop. Three of the times, dead accurate, I was the first one by months to break the news. Once, oh my God, was I so wrong. About the information that got given to me was so wrong. But here's the thing about scoops. Who gives a shit if I'm the first person to get something out there? The reality is once it's out there, I'll know about it 5 minutes later, and then we can talk about it on this show. Scoops would literally not do a single thing for my show. It wouldn't do anything for my show. We're still going to talk about the same stories.
Right.
I mean, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, number one, it's the best way to end relationships of saying, hey, let me use you. Tell me stuff. Now, every once in a while, these people we know will sometimes give us a little whisper, let us know a little something, something. Sometimes it's things we can talk about. Sometimes it's things that we can't. And that's all good. But yeah, the moment I write to somebody and say, think about any relationship you have in your life. The moment you write to think, hey, so what's the inside scoop on this? Then you'll never get another email from them again. I mean, that's just the way to end things. All right. What's
you
next?
want scoops? Go to 31 Flavor.
yeah, get that.
Genevieve with a $20 super chat says, Harry has been in the celeb industry for 11 years. Has always been described as extremely nice and respectful in professional settings, so I'd highly doubt he'd spit on pine in front of so many people.
Here's the thing. You don't know them. You don't know them. I don't care if somebody's got a bad boy reputation. You don't know them. If they've got the most pristine, wonderful, glowing reputation, you don't know them. I don't know them. Whatever. That's why, I mean, we can only go by what we see, right? By what we see and what we have. And what we see is apparently somebody going on set and start having an affair with a married director and whatever. No judgment here. We don't know what happened, but that's why I said, when I first saw the spit thing, I'm like, that might be a bit of a stretch that he's spitting on him. I mean, that doesn't. It was the Chris Pine look that made me start thinking maybe it is real. But listen, I am perfectly content if Chris Pine's rep actually did come out and say that that wasn't him spitting on him. I'm perfectly accept that. I 100% because I remember we talked before the show and I'm just like, you got to know you're in a theater at the Venice Film Festival and like there's a million eyes on you. Like, why would you do something so dumb? But so if it turns out that indeed, that's why we always said with the big massive asterisks and if it was true, but I'm perfectly content that it wasn't if that's what Pine's rep said. Perfectly content.
Me too.
All right, what's next?
Maybe he's like a llama and he felt threatened.
Yeah.
Quality Not Included says when Damon left the cave, he was covered in the CF's, the crab feeder's blood grayscale subplot.
I don't think so because we fast forward when you look
Right.
at images of him set later in the show with the older Rhaenyra, he's perfectly healthy. And that's apparently is going to be years and years and years later. So I don't know. And I don't know if they were saying that was grayscale or if that were like barnacles and like there's a little bit of
I mean, it definitely looked like grayscale, and it had progressed. It progressed from the first couple episodes.
Yes.
So I mean, I don't know. We'll see, but it certainly doesn't look like Damon gets us anything. But we'll find out. All right, what's next?
Purple Funk. That's how I felt when Prince died. Could Black Adam be the villain against the Justice Society of America?
No, he's not going to be the villain in the film. He's clearly going to be set up as an anti-hero. I think there's probably going to be a conflict between him and the Justice Society, but I don't think he's going to be the antagonist of the film.
Yeah, I don't either.
All right.
I don't either.
What's next?
Johnny Got Lost says, did you see the new added scene to Spider-Man No Way Home? It gives you more context about how Doctor Strange's spell worked with Peter missing from photos and videos.
No, didn't see it. I have no real interest in going to the theater to watch it again. I love the movie, but I saw it many times in theaters, so I'm good. But I am curious when it comes out to see the extra footage, but as of right now, I haven't seen the extra footage.
Right.
Have you had a chance to see any of the footage yet?
No, I almost went last night, but I didn't go.
All right, what's next?
Xander says, will She-Hulk's story center around getting her blood? With Abomination being released and wearing an inhibitor, will they get his blood instead?
Well, I mean, first of all, we don't even know who it is. Like, I speculate that maybe it's the leader, but it's not likely. I mean, we did get Abomination back from that movie. Maybe we get Tim Blake Nelson back as well. It is unlikely, but that's the only guess I have right now. For all, maybe it's Zemo.
Yeah.
Although Zemo would be fundamentally opposed to creating any sort of superpowered being, so maybe that doesn't really add up. So maybe it's Elaine. What's her name in it? Again,
It's Elaine. We'll just from now on, it's Elaine.
Let's call her Elaine. Valentina. Maybe it's Valentina looking to bolster up her thunderbolts. I mean, I don't know, but it all depends on who is the person trying to get the blood.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Topher Rock says, is there a movie with more plot holes than The Dark Knight Rises? I enjoy the movie, but holy cow, so many logic questions.
Listen, I like The Dark Knight Rises.
I do too.
I do. But one of the reasons I have always called it the easily weakest of the Christopher Nolan Batman films is there's a lot of logic problems in the movie that I've asked questions about for years about, well, wait a minute, how come it was daytime and then a 2-minute conversation happened and now it's nighttime? I mean, just little things like that. Right?
How about the fact that Bane rips off like the stock market in Gotham and suddenly Bruce Wayne has no money and they've turned the power off to Wayne Manor? I mean, if you're that rich, hello, you diversify your portfolio.
But even if he was absolutely broke at that one moment, that's not how the world works.
Dude, I've been able to scam the power company when I was broke 3 months at least. Keep that power on. Come on, Bruce.
But listen, but none of it was massive enough that it detracted from the movie for me. It was just a compiling of smaller kind of nitpick issues. But it does. Again, I still think it's a good movie. I like The Dark Knight Rises. I do, but I think it's
there's a lot of stuff in there. Like the cops are underground for 100 days. It's like, come on, guys.
All right,
but you might enjoy another Batman film called The Batman.
The Batman.
Check it out. It might be for you.
It's spectacular. And I'll say this right now. Like, I'm not going to say that The Batman is better than The Dark Knight. I'm not going to say that. But Robert Pattinson's The Batman is better than The Dark Knight Rises. I believe that easily.
I agree.
Yeah.
And what about that director?
Well, obviously, stunning work.
I know.
Stunning work.
God.
All right, what's next?
Guillaume LaBelle says, The Patient is a damn good show so far. That's the new Steve Carell.
Oh, that's the new
yeah,
Steve
Steve
Carell and Donald Gleason one. I've only seen the first episode, and it's pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good so far.
I want to see it.
All right, what's next? Is this our last
one,
question?
right here.
This is
All right.
it. Jay Master says Ray Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, and Pixar and 20th Century Studios Game Showcase will be streaming live at 1 p.m. on Disney's D23 official YouTube channel.
I heard that they're going to. That's the only thing they're going to live stream. But which day is that? The Friday?
Probably Friday.
Is that? It has to be the Friday. I think it has to be the Friday. So I mean, yeah. So I know what Ray's going to be doing.
if segments
Well,
get up a little late that day, you kind of know what's going on.
I'll just have it like on a little screen right here while I'm doing the segments. Come on. We could do that, right?
All right, guys. And that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those super chats. Number one, because it gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the John Campea Show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Don't forget, guys, if you are a channel member here on the John Campea YouTube channel, we have a 3 p.m. town hall meeting where I'm going to be streaming live with you guys. I'm going to be giving you guys some information about things happening on the channel, take your questions, stuff like that. So make sure you guys come on by and join us at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're a channel member and can't be there for the live stream, it will be there for you to watch afterwards as well. But if you can be there live and participate, be all the better. All right, guys, don't forget to come back and join us again tomorrow. It'll be myself, Rob, and Chris Carr will be back again tomorrow, and we hope to see you there as well. So for myself, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett, the very excited about the live stream coming up on Friday, Ray Ora, and of course, producer Jonathan Voico. My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.